Welcome to Clarke Field in Edmonton for ICU Video's Procast coverage of the 2017 Prairie Football Conference season. Good evening, football fans. I'm Kevin Donnan with ICU Video, and I'll be your host and sideline reporter for tonight's game between the visiting Calgary Colts and the Edmonton Huskies. Both teams come into this game with identical 1-0 records. The Colts won their first game at McMahon Stadium last week, but it was a narrow one, 18-10 over the Edmonton Wildcats. Meanwhile, the Huskies made some history in Ontario with a 30-7 win over the AKO Fratmen in Windsor, Ontario, the first ever game between the Prairie Football Conference and the Ontario Football Conference in regular season play. But tonight, here at Clarke Field, it's all about a rivalry that keeps getting bigger and better. These two teams split the regular season series last season, but it was in the playoffs where they met for a classic. The Colts coming away with an 11-10 victory in the PFC semifinal, which came down to the very last play. Some unfinished business for the Huskies tonight here at Clarke Field, and it's got all of the subplots you need for a great one here in week 2. So let's kick things off with ICU Video's Procast coverage of Prairie Football Conference football, and let's throw things upstairs to the team of Dave Rozak and the coach John Belmont. Gentlemen, it's a beautiful night for football, and this rivalry is very intense. It's going to be a great night tonight.
What a great night. 2017, we're kicking off the PFC season, and JB, I'll tell you what, these teams both remember that game last year, and especially Ian McLean and his Edmonton Huskies.
They sure do, and they've been prepping for it for the entire year. Their recruiting has been geared toward it, and they're ready to roll. The Huskies will be kicking off in this game, kicking off to the north into the wind.
And talking with Matt Blocker before the game, he knows how intense this contest is going to be, because both these teams like to play that smash mouth type of football.
They do, and they're both very competitive, and they do not like one another, so it makes for a real good football game.
Almost sounds like the Wildcats and the Huskies, too, doesn't it?
Does sound like it.
Just down the highway. Talk about some of the key players that we're going to be watching tonight. Brad Lonhart had himself a pretty good game last week, although he admits that he himself was not really 100% in his especially in his passing.
He wasn't sharp like he usually is, and Brad is such a competitor. I'm sure he'll pick it up tonight. And
tell you what, Dylan Minshall for the Calgary Colts, he can be a one-man wrecking crew when he gets moving north-south.
Anybody that can move like he can is a danger on the field every time he gets his hands on the ball.
Last weekend against the Wildcats, he had a touchdown on the ground and he had a touchdown through the air. So really, he's a double threat.
He is, and they'll run a fairly balanced attack. They like to run the ball. They'll run a lot of two-back system, but we're going to see that right away, right after the kickoff.
One thing that I know you're going to be interested to watch is the offensive line of the Edmonton Huskies. It's a veteran offensive line, thanks to a couple of returnees that they didn't expect to come back this season, against a very young Calgary Colts defensive line.
It will be interesting. I don't think the Husky offensive line did as well as they wanted to against Windsor, so I'm sure they'll be picking it up a little bit this week.
We talked about just about everything except the special teams. That's your specialty. The Colts, of course, have a veteran special team, and the Huskies with Cole Saber leading the way and fifth in scoring already after the first week.
Cole had a good game in Windsor. He's got a very good leg. Now it's going to show here. You'll be kicking into the wind. The wind is coming from the northwest, Dave, and I'm looking at Cole right now. He's setting up on the left hash mark to kick. So I suspect he's going to try to pin them in the corner here. And by doing so, that ball will hang in the air. It'll give them lots of time for coverage.
All right, the Calgary Colts standing back at about their fifth 5-yard line. And the Huskies are ready to get things underway. Cole Saberin doing the kickoff. He is the leading kicker, by the way, in this season, this early season, after 1 week. He had a couple of them last week that were well over the 50-yard mark, and this one's going to be just as long, down to the 5-yard line, taken there by number 9, Jordy Kabamba. Kabamba tries the right side and is taken down after a run back of about 25 yards. And in there to make the tackle was number 18 himself, Cole Sabarin.
What is interesting with that, they had a little bit of a seam and the returner hit it very hard, but he just got over the 30. And what you like to do is to keep your opponents inside the 35 on the kickoff. So the Huskies accomplished what they wanted.
It's always interesting at the beginning of the season to see how the special teams react, because they don't really get that much practice time in the early going.
No, they don't. And we'll see what they do here.
Bailey Wasdell at quarterback. There's the handoff to the right side. Dylan Minchell carries it ahead for a gain of about 8 yards on the play. So right off the top, we know what to expect. Dylan Minchell up the middle.
Again, they're going to run him a lot and then play action off it. They will play action to him quite a bit too. So I actually gained 5 on that, so 2nd and 5.
Ball on the 38-yard line. Wasdell in shotgun. Flankers to the left side. Wasdell rolling that way, has a man open in the middle, and it is caught and taken there by, I believe it was number 85, Nathan Hillier, but we'll check on that. Hillier at the bottom of that pile. Nick was number 82, actually, Brandon McIsaac.
Now on that play, the interesting thing about it is that the Husky defensive back seemed a little hesitant on the break to the ball. And part of that was because of the rollout. They lost contain a little bit, allowed the quarterback outside.
Gain of 14 on the play. It's first down, and the Colts already knocking on the doorstep of that midfield stripe. There's the pass this side taken for a gain of about 5 yards, and again, it was Nathan McIsaac with the catch, or Brandon McIsaac rather, with the catch, and a gain of about, we'll call it maybe 8 yards on the play. So it'll be 2nd and 2. Ball on the 48-yard line.
And again, what they're doing here is they're getting the ball off on time. Very quick passes, 7 to 8 yards. That's a real good way to move the ball down the field. The Huskies are going to have to change up a little bit on how they're covering.
To a certain degree, the Colts were more or less a one-man team last year as far as Dylan Minchell is concerned. This year they have a much more diversified passing attack with a number of guys out there who can catch the football. And again, as I say, that Mitchell takes it upfield for a gain of about 6 yards on the play and a first down.
And again, they needed to get 2, and they attacked hard. They're coming off the ball very hard with their offensive line. It looks to me like the Husky defensive line is catching a little. In this 30 front, that could be dangerous. They've got to beat them off the ball and keep people off their linebackers.
There's the pitch out. Minchell taken down on a big tackle as he tried the outside, and in there to take him down was number 30, Morgan Runge, out of the White Court Cats, and he's a third-year man, 6'2", 205 pounds, and he looked pretty sharp on that one.
Well, it was a good fill, and that's what you want to do. Now it makes it 2nd and long. It puts them in a difficult position. The Colts now will see what they can do. Can they get the 8 to 10 yards that they need? 3
flankers to this side. There's the snap. It's low, but it's picked up by Wasdell. His pass intended for Dylan Minchell, and the Edmonton Huskies will hold and force the Colts into a punting situation.
Now in that, Brett Vanderkorpet from Harry Ainley, he had coverage, man-to-man coverage on that back coming out of the field, and he was right there. If he'd have caught the ball, he would have made the tackle for a short gain.
All right, the Colts will kick it away from about the midfield stripe. Down there waiting for it will be number 2, Connor Mickle on this side, and on the far side, Brandon Berzak.
We have either a legal procedure or a delay of game by the looks of it. Timeout? Okay, timeout called. And by the looks of it, it's the Edmonton Huskies that called the timeout. They probably had one less player on the field than they should have had.
The head referee for this evening's game is Brendan Murphy, and he is a veteran of the PFC.
He's a very good official, and I don't know everybody in his crew, but it's looks to me like it's pretty well a veteran crew, so it should be a well-called game.
All right, so we'll try and get this underway once again. Ball on the 43-yard line.
Well, the Husky coaches are going to be upset with that because they've blown one timeout. They've only got one left in the half. And you don't like wasting timeouts in games where you're playing a real tight rival.
Dallas Burke to do the punting for the Colts. Gets the ball away. It's a high end-over-end kick down to Berzak at about the 15-yard line. He's up to the 20, still going, and is knocked down at about the 24-yard line. So a good run back for Berzak, and the Huskies will get our first look at their offense, led by Brad Lonhart.
And what the Huskies are going to be happy about with that is it wasn't a real long punt, but the return was very good. And for young players, if you watch Brett Berzak, he is a north-south runner. He attacks the seam. He doesn't try to run across the field. Therefore, he gained about 8-9 yards, and the net was very little now for the Calgary Colts.
All right, Berzak, the lone setback. I'll make that Jimmy Airy the lone setback, and there's the pass out on the flats. It is complete to number 34, Jacob Battenfelder, and the Fort Saskatchewan Sting graduate carries it ahead for a gain of about 12 yards or so.
It's about 12, and Jacob came out of the backfield. He was a fullback on that play, came out of the backfield, and they just popped a quick pass to him. They're checking the coverages out right now.
4 flankers to this side of the field. Airy in the backfield. There's a kind of a little delay. And it looks like we're going to have a penalty, maybe holding, but a little, kind of an almost like a little draw play to Airy.
Well, it was a fairly quick read in there, but it is holding. When you see a flag thrown in the backfield like that, at 90% of the time, it's a holding call. And this puts them in a difficult position now. You're 1st and 20, and now you pretty well have to pass. It enables now the Calgary Colts to change up what they're doing on their defense.
All right. Again, Jimmy Airy will be the lone setback, and Airy, a little bit bigger than Berzak in terms of stature, but a very powerful runner. He's in there blocking right now. There's the pass. It was, I think, ticked at the line of scrimmage, but it is complete and taken there by Harrison Cable out of Leduc.
Harrison is in his, I believe, his 2nd year. He's doing really well. That was a very good pass, and they're picking up a little at a time. Now they've got to gain some big yards to get the first down.
2nd and 15.
Calgary's playing man coverage here, and they think they can do some things, and what Rick will try to do is run some picks or rubs, trying to clear somebody up.
All right, in the backfield now is number 2, Connor Nichol. There's the pass to Nichol on this side. Nichol finds some room up the middle. He's still going, puts his head down and gets it across the 45-yard line and maybe just shy of the first down. But hey, little Connor Nichol just put his head down and went straight forward.
Another holding call on the Huskies, and this is going to start driving Coach McLean nuts. All of a sudden, they're now going to be 2nd in about almost
25 yards. 25 yards, yeah.
Number 54, 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
All right, the holding call against TJ Shapa from Bev Facey. Nichol comes out of the game, and in at fullback will be Jacob Bettenfelder.
He moves out to the number 4 receiver on the strong side.
Lonhart calling his own number and slips and falls after a gain of about maybe 8 yards in the play, well short of the first down, and the Huskies will be kicking it away.
If he hadn't slipped and fallen, he might have got a few more yards, but not a lot. It's one of those things. It's a very safe play, and what they're looking for is field position. Hoping now that Sabern can get a good punt. He will be punting into a crosswind that's coming from northwest to southeast, and we'll see how he does.
Sabern had 7 punts last week. He averages about 32 yards per punt, and I know he'd like to get that one a little bit higher. His longest last weekend was 55 yards in Windsor.
He had one real bad shank there, which really affected him, and there's another shank right there. So that's going to affect him. There's going to be no yards.
Colts bounce, and there will be a 5-yard, no yards call against the Huskies. The ball is on the Edmonton 50-yard line. They'll move it ahead to the 45. And That's a big break for the Colts.
It is, and it puts them in plus territory where they'd like to be. This puts a lot of pressure on the Husky defense.
No yards. On the kicking team, number 9. 5-yard penalty. First out.
So they move it ahead to the 45. And Bailey Wasdell leads his team out in the shotgun formation. He has Nichol back there as per usual. Now we have another delay. The official replacing the ball. He was off by a couple of inches, I think. And off left side, Nichol, and he's going nowhere. Piled up after a short gain of about a yard or two. But again, we have some orange on the field.
It'll be interesting to see what this is. Offside on offense. I think they'll decline this penalty. It's 2nd and 9 or 2nd and 10. They did a very good job.
Offside. Offense, number 2. That penalty will be declined. Second down.
So now they have 2nd and long. That was a very good defensive surge by the front 3 and the linebackers, the 4 linebackers.
So a gain of 2, 2nd and 8. Ball on the 42-yard line. Swing pass right side to Nichol. It is complete at the 40, still going to the 35 and down to about the 34-yard line. And he will have just enough for the first down.
He has enough for first down. They got their blockers up on receivers, on defenders real quick. And this is really important in that type of play. That's what we call a bubble screen or a slip screen. And when you get the blockers on people, you're going to gain a fair amount of yardage.
Flank to this side is number 17, Dallas Burke, out of the Calgary Broncos midget system. There is the snap and a couple of flags. We'll see what the call is.
It looked to me like middle linebacker Jason Brown might have moved. We'll see. Looked like he was into it. They're going to call procedure. He might have been drawn.
Illegal procedure.
That's right.
Offense, number 55. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
If you're noticing a lot of wind in referee Murphy's microphone, it is windy out there. There's a breeze coming out of the northwest at about maybe 30 clicks or so. And up the middle this time. It's taken by number 20, Kaden Armstrong, and Armstrong is piled up.
Again, good line surge. And what we're seeing is they're going to, the Huskies are changing up their fronts now. You see them in what we call a cowboy front, where they go with 6 men front. They get those linebackers up, and they really get some pressure on.
2nd and 12. Two flankers on each side, back in the pocket, looking downfield is Wasdell. Now he'll take off, gets away, and it is complete on the sidelines at about the 18-yard line, make that the 22-yard line, a gain of close to 15 yards on the play, and it'll be enough for the first down. Let's go downstairs, and here's Kevin Donnan. Kev?
Thanks a lot, Dave. You know, on the Huskies sideline, Brian Marshall, the offensive line coach of the Huskies, gathered his group together and talked about butterflies and talked about settling down, so you'll see a different offensive line going out in the next series.
Under center, Wasdell, handoff, Nichol, caught in the backfield and taken down on a nice tackle by number 91 for the Edmonton Huskies, and that is Skylar Schellenberg out of the Lacombe Rams.
He came down real hard on that play, and when you get that kind of movement, you can make some plays.
And we have an injured Calgary Colt down there. Looks like one of the big linemen, number 52, Mike Anuik, from Bishop Grandin High School in Calgary.
Now, while they're working on him, in the previous pass where the Colts got the first down, the Huskies lost contain. And when you get a quarterback get outside and you give him time, it's easy now for the receiver to get separation from the defensive back and back to the ball, and that's what happened on that play. It was a very good play by the quarterback and a good play by the receiver.
Anuik being looked at by the training staff of the Calgary Colts. good contingent of fans out here from Calgary too, all sitting in big blue over there on the east side.
They always do have a good contingent. They have a good organization there, and parents and girlfriends, they follow the team wherever they go.
Anuik is favoring his right leg, and he will limp off. And we'll get a report on him and whether he'll be back in time for the rest of this football game. But right now he looks like he's a little slow.
And that he can work that off. We'll see what happens. But if he's walking the way he is, I think he's probably got a good chance to work it off.
6:58 to go in the first quarter. No score between the Edmonton Huskies and the Calgary Colts. This is Prairie Football Conference action brought to you by ICU Video from Clarke Park in Edmonton. Bailey Wasdell, the quarterback. Dylan Minchell, the running back. Flankers on both sides. Minchell now up to the line of scrimmage as a blocking back. Rolling left, there's the pass, it is complete on the far side. Taken there by Bennett Thompson. And Thompson will pick up a gain of, we'll see where he marks it down, but
I think it is a first down, but there are flags down. On that again, the Huskies lost contain on the wide side of the field. There were 3 receivers out there, and they cleared with 2 and brought the other one up. So they were able to get the first down when he got outside. Coach Tobert, the defensive coordinator for the Edmonton Huskies, is going to have to figure out a way to contain the quarterback, keep him inside, and get rid of the ball before he wants to.
Jeff Tobert, his first year as the defensive coordinator with the Edmonton Huskies, and of course, luckily for the Huskies, he has been with the team for a number of years.
He's been with it. This is his second year with the team. He's a veteran coach in the city. He's a very, very good coach. Replaces Sammy Okpro, and he's going to do a very good job.
So it is first and goal for the Calgary Colts. There's a handoff to Minchell on the left side, and he is just not going to go anywhere. There is a flag. It was thrown in that scrum. In there to make the tackle was number 10, Justin Hodinsky, out of Cold Lake.
They did a good job in filling in that. Now I'm wondering whether there might be a face mask penalty. That's exactly what they've called, a face mask penalty. When these running backs and receivers, when they lower their heads and drive into people, lots of times you're in position to make the tackle, but you allow your hand to get on that face mask, you're going to be in trouble. You've got to get in a way where you can't do it. Now the Colts are on the 1 yard line. It's an automatic 15-yard penalty, and if it's less than 15, the goal line takes it right to the 1. First down.
This is almost shades of the early part of last season with all these penalties. The Huskies just lacking a little bit of discipline at this point. There's the snap. Out of the shotgun, pass, complete, touchdown. Number 82, Brandon McIsaac.
Now again, down there, the Huskies were in man coverage. They did not get coverage on the receiver at all. He was wide open on the play. Pretty easy touchdown for the Colts.
They seem to be those kind of little sideline patterns that they just aren't able to contain, whether the defensive back is playing too far back or just not getting up in time.
Well, that's a case where they had a linebacker on that receiver, and he was much too far inside to be able to cover him on and out, so it makes for fairly easy play.
Point after. It is through the uprights. It is good. And with 6:14 to go in this first quarter, the Calgary Colts leading the Edmonton Huskies by a score of 7-0.
Now, right now, the biggest thing that is hurting the Huskies are penalties. And again, this is something that's going to frustrate Coach McLean dramatically. And they've got to get that straightened out early. If they don't, they're going to be in trouble. Calgary Colts are too good a team, and you just can't allow these things to happen.
Colts coming into this one after a win last week against the Edmonton Wildcats, and in all fairness to the Wildcats, they were hanging in there up until about the last 2 or 3 minutes when the Colts scored to go ahead 18-10, and then almost the Wildcats almost came back in the last couple of seconds or so, and they were stopped at the goal line.
And again, that's Prairie
Does
Junior
that sound
football.
familiar?
Yeah, we've seen that an awful lot over the years.
All right, here's the kickoff to the 15-yard line. It's taken there by number 22, Brant Berzak. Berzak has some room. He's at the 40, the 50, still going to center field, taken down from behind at the Calgary 50-yard line. on a desperation tackle by number 7, Noah Williams.
Excellent return by Bergersen. Excellent blocking. He found the seam, he popped it and broke a little to the outside and then got vertical. He is one of those special backs. Very good return. There's the pop. You see him come outside. Now he gets straight upfield. Good field position plus territory for the Huskies.
Brant Bergersen is one of those guys who can dipsy-doodle down there, and he doesn't lose any speed when he makes the move.
He's extremely quick. And Jimmy Airy, who just carried the ball there now, he's faster, he's stronger.
He's more of a north-south kind of guy, though, isn't he?
He is, and Jimmy's got excellent speed, where with Bergersen has tremendously quick feet, and he can make you miss awfully fast.
And there is a difference between speed and quicks.
There sure is.
Here's the snap and the pass complete to Airy. He's at the 35 to 30, still going along the sidelines and knocked out of bounds at about the 20-yard line. So really the Huskies coming right back with some of their own medicine, but there is a flag down on her at the 40-yard line.
We do have a flag down, and we'll see who it's against. From the looks of it, I don't think the Huskies are too happy with it, so looks like it might be against the Huskies. I'm wondering if it's an illegal block. If it's after the first down, the Huskies are in good shape. If it isn't, it's an illegal block, but did they have first down yardage?
Well, they're going to move the ball back to...
They're saying they didn't have first down yardage.
Wow.
And this is, again, this is killing the Huskies in this ball game.
Repeat second down.
So the ball all the way back into Husky territory at the 53-yard line. That kind of negates that 32-yard pickup by Airy. So it will be second down and a full 20.
Again, we've seen this earlier in the game, and it's putting the Huskies in a very bad position.
Actually make that 18 yards. Second and 18, there's the fake, and up the middle is Lonhart. He calls his own number again on that little kind of almost a play action to number 2, Connor Nichol. And actually, Nichol attracted a couple of potential tackles.
He does, and that's called a zone read. They really work off the defensive end on that. If the defensive end is crashing inside, they'll give the ball outside. If the defensive end stays outside, then the quarterback will keep and go inside.
Used to call it a quarterback option, didn't it?
Well, one time. It was run a little differently than what this is run, but it's same idea, same concept.
All right, and again, the Huskies will be forced to kick this one away. Cole Sabourin standing about his own 50-yard line with 4:26 to go in the first quarter. There's a kick. It's a good, high, spiraling punt. It'll come down at about the 15-yard line, bouncing around, and there's a flag on the play, and it'll be no yards, but making the tackle was number 3, Nathan Felito, and Felito was the guy that they're going to flag for the no yards as the ball bounced around.
And this is something that the coverage guys, they got to be better than that. There was lots of time on the hang on that to have an idea where the ball was coming down. It kicked back on him. And even then, the returner didn't touch it for a while. They could have got out of there.
Number 3, 5-yard penalty.
They're very fortunate. That's only a 5-yard penalty. And that's because the ball hit the ground.
So they'll mark the ball down at the 13-yard line. 4:10 to go. 7-0 Colts in favor of the Huskies, or in favor of the Colts, rather, over the Huskies. Back in the pocket now, looking downfield, pass complete to Nichol at the 20. Taken down at the 22-yard line, and in there to make the tackle was number
41, that's Jason Brown.
Jason Brown.
Now on that, there's a case where they released the back out and they had the middle linebacker cover him. The outside linebacker came up for pressure, and that's, I think, how they're going to try to keep the quarterback inside. But the middle linebacker ended up having to cover that back, and that's a tough job. It's a long way to go.
Oh, mix up in the backfield, and Wasdell is going to be thrown for a loss or two. Somebody got their signals mixed up, whether it was Wasdell or whether it was Nichol.
Either way, the defensive line from the Huskies, the linebackers, really exploded off the ball in that play. So even though the offense messed it up a little, the defense did an excellent job. It was a good call by the coordinator because if they were expecting to run, they would have stuffed it. Just a very good play.
A loss of 1.5 yards on the play. So we'll call it third and about 1.5 yards or so. There's a good spiraling kick. It'll come down to Bergersen at about the 50-yard line. He looks to the inside now, outside rather, goes inside and is stopped at about the 49-yard line.
I think when Brett sees that on film, he's going to wish that he just went straight up the field. His outside man on that play on blocking did a great job on the contained man. If he'd have just gone straight up, he probably would have got another 5 or 6 yards. He's such a good little returner that when he starts seeing these things and seeing them real well, he's not just going to pop the odd one. He's going to be popping a lot of them.
All right, 3 flankers to this side. There's the handoff to Bergersen, and Bergersen is taken down for a loss of about maybe 3 on the play. And that young defensive line of the Calgary Colts will hold once again.
Now there's a case where you had the middle linebacker coming in and filled on that complete. That's a little bit of a counter action, and the middle linebacker shot the hole and made the play.
Now it's 2nd and 13. There's going to be an offside call against Calgary. It's a free play, and there it is, complete on this side to Tanner Buchanan. Buchanan will pick up a gain of close to 18 yards on the play.
Definitely decline that penalty. It's a good game,
real quick,
well-executed play. And one thing I noticed on that pass, Brad Lonhart, that's the type of passing he's capable of. Last week he was throwing a lot off his back foot, and all week he's been working on that to get the ball down where he has to. A lot of pop on that pass.
Tanner Buchanan from Paul Kane High School out there at on the left side. At that wide out position. Everybody downfield, back in the pocket. Lonhart looking again, and it is going to be almost picked off. And I think we're going to have an offensive interference call against Buchanan, but we'll have to wait and see.
I believe it will be offensive interference. I think Buchanan really didn't have a choice on that. Brad brought that ball inside too much, and the defender would have picked it. Otherwise, they'll take the penalty. You can see it right there. To me, that is a good penalty to take. You can't fault the receiver at all on that. Now, the way that wind is blowing, that could have had an effect on that pass because the wind is blowing from northwest to southeast, and he threw that pretty well on a line in there, and I'm sure the wind took it inside a little bit, which affected him.
So that's a 15-yarder.
It's a big penalty.
And it'll bring it back to the 49-yard line.
Big thing
is
he's got
54. Sorry,
he's got 2 downs to get this yardage. So
there's the handoff right side. Bergersen still going, and is stopped after a gain of about maybe 3. He eluded the initial hit, but then got caught as he got in behind the line.
He did. What Rick Walters is doing on that, he's expecting or hoping they're thinking pass with you've got a 1st and 25, so sneak in that run and maybe you can pop one for 10 yards plus. But now they're in a 2nd and long. It's going to be interesting to see what this call will be. Again, it might be a thing for field position, punt the ball away and pin them deep.
Bergersen, the lone slot back. There's the mix-up in the backfield once again. I believe that was going to be one of those Statue of Liberty plays, wasn't it?
I have no idea what that was supposed to be, but I can tell you that it cost them big time because they're fortunate they didn't get a quarterback hurt. And it's just one of those things that either missed the handoff or the call was brought in wrong.
Again, a bit of a mix-up, timing more than anything else on the part of Lonhart and Bergersen. They didn't quite get it together there, but it'll be a 3rd and a whole bunch for the Edmonton Huskies.
The Colts have an injured player on the field, and what you're looking at is Denny Sekic, and he's dinged a little bit. He's defensive end, and I don't think they can afford to lose too many of these guys.
He's a young guy too, only about 18, 19 years old, and
the way he's walking off, he's all right, so he'll be back.
So Cole Sabourin standing at about his own 37-yard line. He'll get this one away from about the 40 with 54 seconds to go in this first quarter. Colts leading it by a score of 7-0. The snap goes over the head of Sabourin. He'll just get a quick one away. It'll bounce. Everybody gets out of the way. No yards is not going to be. Oh, yes, it will be.
It is.
I guess they had trouble putting it out of their
that should be 5 yards. I thought Cole did a real good job getting rid of the ball. However, he did get hit after he's talking to the official. The official is not calling it. Let's have a look at it here in the replay. Oh, he definitely got hit. That, I don't know.
Great coverage there by our end cut cameraman.
I think what the official's saying is when you get back out in the pocket like that, they're not going to call no yards because you could run. But he was definitely kicking the ball all the way.
No yards on the kicking team, number 3. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That'll move the ball up to the 51-yard line in Huskies territory. And again, the Colts with great field position throughout this entire first quarter. And with 7 points on the board, looking to add to that total.
And again, it shows you the importance of the snap.
There's the handoff to Nichol, left side, and he'll carry it down to the 40-yard line, a gain of 11, and enough for the first down. And just watching on that play, but big number 90, Tanaka Mutano, they line him up as a running back, and he came in across, but he's a big guy.
He really is.
And he took out the contained man on the left side.
And they popped him outside, and the Huskies blitzed inside. So all of a sudden, you got your inside-out people out of the way.
5'11", 225 pounds. That's a big running back. There's a pass. It is over the head of the intended receiver, Evan Mann, from Robert Thirsk High School in Calgary.
And there's a situation, again, you're looking at a situation where, you know, the Huskies are getting into man coverage on that, trailing them out. And if the ball is on the money, it's a completion. But because the ball is overthrown, they were able to get
same play was completed about the same spot earlier in the quarter, too.
Exactly right.
Just want to remind you of some of the great sponsors that bring you this football game and all the football games throughout the season involving the Edmonton Huskies. Hertz Equipment Rental, the Glen Sather Sports Medicine Clinic, the Eskimo Excavators Limited, the Edmonton Eskimos, and our friends at FC Edmonton as well, who will be in action later this weekend. Ball on the 40-yard line. Colts leading this one by a score of 7-0. And really,
Dave, I'm pleased actually on behalf of the Edmonton Huskies to talk about a very special evening coming next month. The Huskies will host their annual gala dinner just literally half a block away at the Santa Maria Garage Center. To be a fantastic event. Some outstanding ambassadors of junior football. Some of the special guests include J.R. LaRose, a former Canadian Bowl champion with the Huskies. From the Eskimos, Grant Shaw and Tim Princeton. And the keynote champion, Mark Kennedy, and a Husky alum. So make sure you try and get your tickets early. Huskies.com or on the gala dinner coming.
All right, Kevin, thanks a lot. And back underway with play at the ball at the 40-yard line. Colts, second down, 10. Bailey Wasdell still in at quarterback. Everybody downfield, and now Wasdell back looking downfield. pulls the ball down at the last minute, now takes off with it, fires it over to the far side. It is complete to number 82, Brandon McIsaac, and he fumbles the ball. It's going to be picked up by the Huskies. First turnover of the football game, and in there to recover it was number 40, Tylen Smith, out of Olds.
Now, a very good job in there, basically by the end, who got contained. You see it here, and then the quarterback had to step up inside, which took time. Once the ball was completed, then the fumble took place, and a very good recovery.
Wasdell almost had that ball knocked out of his hands the first time he tried to pass it. He was lucky to pull it down as quickly as he did.
He was, and a very good job by the pressure of the Edmonton Husky defensive end.
So the Huskies take it over, and with the ball is Brad Lonhart being pressured. He throws it away, and it'll go incomplete as he threw it right into the stomach of one of the pursuing Calgary Colts players. It'll go incomplete.
Now, a lot of people would say he's lucky on that. That was a very good job, and you'll see Brad here. He literally throws it to a place where the defender can't catch it, and it bounces off him, but threw it forward, so it's an incomplete pass. Now it's 2nd and 10 instead of 2nd and 20 or 2nd and 15.
2nd and 10. The ball is on the 29-yard line. Motion goes to this side. Back in the pocket now. Lonhart looking downfield into the middle, complete. Going up and pulling it down was number 5, Harrison Cable.
Very good job by Cable on that. A nice pass by Brad Lonhart. The Colts came with just a 3-man rush, dropped people off, and Brad was able to get the ball over the linebacker. And you'll see it here, right over the linebacker and into Cable's hands. Excellent pass.
Had to go up for that one. He knew he was going to get hit hard on the way down, too, and he was, but he held on. There's the play action pass on this side, complete to number 2, Connor Nichol, and Nichol will carry it up almost to the center field stripe at about the 54-yard line, and a gain of close to, we'll call it 7 yards on the play, 2nd and 3.
And with that, nice play action pass by Brad, and if you watch it here, he just gets that ball down and gets it out where it had to be. Nichol made a very good play on it.
Hand off up the middle. It is Berzak. Berzak down to about the 44-yard line, and another first down. The Huskies offense on the move. Lots of movement to this side, and I think that kind of threw the linebackers off a little bit.
Well, it's just the way they're running the zone, and then the backs are taught how to break into the seam that's there. And Berzak is so quick and small, a lot of those guys can't see him.
There's the pass complete at the 40-yard line by Harrison Cable. And once again, the Leduc Kampf wide receiver appears to be Brad's favorite target early in this game.
Right now it does. He's got 4 yards on that, and the team's now playing with some confidence.
12:15 to go here in the second quarter. Huskies trail by 7. There's more play action. There's the pass. It is complete at the 25-yard line. What a great grab by number 9, Connor Bergersen, out of Salisbury Cup High School in Sherwood Park. And he was able to pull that one down. Defender was all over him, as you'll see in this replay.
And a little bootleg action. You see Brad go with the boot, come out there. Now for young receivers, what Bergersen done here is so good, he came back to the ball. He didn't wait for the ball. And because of that, they were able to get the first down.
Chris Thelasco in there tight on the coverage. And we've got an audible out there. We'll see what Lonhart comes up with. In the pocket, looking downfield, and now takes off with it to the 20-yard line, and that's the 3rd time in this football game that we've seen Lonhart call his own number. Not by choice, mind you, but he took
in this case it wasn't by choice. He saw that the coverage was there pretty well, saw a seam open up, and he's very confident in his running ability, and the entire Husky team is confident in his running ability.
He's very quick to read when it's time to take off, too.
He does. He's a veteran. He understands the defenses he's seeing and sees it very well.
There's a rolling snap. The pass, it is into the end zone. It is incomplete. Just out of the arms of Harrison Cable. Cable looking for a call on that, but he's not going to get it.
No, he's not going to, but he should, because Harrison Cable was grabbed on this play. If you watch it down here, You see the arm being grabbed?
Yeah.
And so they're saying, well, it's overthrown. He wasn't going to get the ball anyway.
We've got an injured Husky down there. One of the big guys. Try and get a number here for you. Looks like they're working on his left leg. Somewhere in the calf area. There it is again, and yeah, you're right, he did grab the arm, but the ball may have gotten by him by that time.
Well, it might have. You know, the officials have tough calls down there. They got to make them in an instant, and if it was me, that would have been a call. But I'm an offensive coach. So, you know, if I was a defensive coach, I'd probably be going the other way.
One of the players that they have lost for the entire season, while we're on the subject of injuries, I guess, is Troy Hansen. Hansen is out with an ankle injury. And interestingly enough, it occurred while he was working out with the Edmonton Eskimos. And, you know, you hate to make a joke out of it, but the fact is that the Eskimos have been really snake-bitten this year. And for a coach to let one of his players go and practice with the Eskimos and then end up getting hurt, you got to wonder. I
was talking to Coach McLean about that. I told him I wouldn't let a player walk within 3 blocks of the Eskimo practice field because yeah, they are snake bit. Now the injured player is Jack Hanna, the starting left guard. He's also the backup center, so we're hoping he can get back in the game right away.
Favoring his left leg, seems to be trying to walk it off, so hopefully that'll work out for the Huskies. In the meantime, Cole Sabarin is getting ready to try a field goal from about the 27-yard line, but Ian McLean is out there having a chat with referee Murphy. Not sure exactly what it was all about, but I'm sure he was probably thinking something along the lines of defensive pass interference.
I think you hit it accurately. Whether you can read lips or not, I guarantee you that's what he was talking to him about.
When the arms went up, I figured. So from the 27-yard line, Huskies looking to get on the scoreboard, trailing by a score of 7-0, and without any doubt, Cole Sabarin puts it through big time, and it is now 7-3 in favor of the Calgary Colts over the Edmonton Huskies. And the Huskies, I think at this point in the football game, things are starting to turn around. The momentum is starting to go in favor of the Huskies.
Well, you had that turnover, and then they drove down and got points off the turnover. So that is always a big factor. If you don't get points off a turnover, you kind of feel like you've wasted it. Yeah. So that is a very positive thing.
So the Colts will look to turn that around with Bailey Wasdell at quarterback and Dylan Minchell at setback. 3 flankers to this side, 2 to the other side. There's the play action, rolling to his right. Wasdell is being chased down by a horde of Edmonton Huskies, and in there to make the final tackle was number 1, Donovan Bergmeyer, out of Salisbury Comp in Sherwood Park.
And the interesting thing about that is both the nose guard and the defensive ends, both defensive ends beat their men. So that put tremendous pressure on that quarterback right away. And if you notice, Bergmeyer, what did he do? He contained outside. So that forced him to come back in. Now they seem to have that straightened out. It'll be interesting to see what the Colts do on this play.
That's 6'6", 260 pounds. He's also very quick. There's the pass on the far side. It is complete to Minchell. Minchell stopped at about the 30-yard line. He'll make it across to around the 31. Won't be enough for the first down, and it's going to be a 2-and-out for the Calgary Colts, and that's a big stop for the Huskies.
It is now. It's kind of a roll with a backside screen. The Husky linebacker sniffed that out very quickly, and Jason Brown, who is such a veteran, come in and made the tackle. Very good middle linebacker.
Darian Nittu in there on the tackle as well.
Nitty's having a good season out of Kelowna Rutland High School.
There's the punt, another high end-over-end kick by Dallas Murphy down to about just over the center field stripe. It'll go out of bounds, and the Huskies will take over with good field position once again.
They are in plus territory again. A shank punt by the Colt punter, and this puts the Huskies in pretty good field position. So we'll see now if Brad can continue the momentum and be able to get this team driven in for a touchdown.
Ethan Mahoney out there on the defensive line for the Calgary Colts. And we mentioned they are a very young defensive line, but they've got some size to them as well.
They have size and they're very athletic. They get off the ball well, and they're giving the Husky offensive line a little bit of trouble.
All right, Jimmy Airy in there at setback, and we have a flag.
We got a mess up here. It's a timeout. That's a second timeout for the Huskies. They are missing personnel, or they've got a double tight. You see Jason Battenfelder at one of the tight ends. I'm not sure who the other tight end is, but it seems like they're missing somebody out there.
Tommy Yanchuk was in at quarterback. Yanchuk, a young rookie from the Holy Rosary Raiders in Lloydminster. We watched him last week in Windsor. He was in there for one series, and he was 3 for 3 in passing and looked very impressive.
Tommy has a gun for an arm. Now, he was probably the most highly recruited quarterback in the province last year.
Really?
And the Huskies were very fortunate in getting him. He really likes the organization, and he's going to be the future of this team. With Brad in his final year, it's going to be a good job. And what Rick wants to do is to get him some playing time every game.
All right, so Yanchuk is the quarterback. The rookie will be out of the shotgun formation. Lone setback is Airy. Airy doing a good job of blocking. He takes one man out of the play, and Yanchuk takes advantage of it. Goes to the inside and picks up a gain of close to, I'm going to say 9 yards on the play. But again, Jimmy Airy, who is so valuable in that offensive backfield for the Huskies.
He's a very good football player. He's really improved his blocking over the years, and he's just an all-round ball player now. Now, the nice thing about that play that I really like, Coach Rick Walters made it easy for Tommy. He had an opportunity to throw the ball. If it wasn't there, run, because he runs very well. And there's a quarterback sneak, first down.
Off the right side, gain of about 3 yards in the play. Let's go downstairs, and once again, here's Kevin Donnan.
Thanks a lot, Dave. I'll tell you, this Husky sideline is starting to look like a bit of a MASH unit right now. The biggest news right now is that Brad Lonhart has the shoulder pads off. He's having looks like they're immobilizing the shoulder right now. On the table is Jack Hanna, the starting left guard, as Coach Belmont mentioned. So we've got the training staff is very busy down here on the Husky sideline, and big concerns about Brad Lonhart.
Lonhart being taped up at this moment. He may not be back for this football game. There's a pass. It is complete on the far side. And once again, it is Jimmy Airy, and Airy stepping up when needed and helping out his young quarterback.
That was actually just an outside zone, and Jimmy popped it well. It was blocked extremely well, and he got that acceleration going, a good first down.
Just watching the tape job on Brad Lonhart's shoulder, and John doesn't look good. All right, the whistle.
Well, I believe we have a delay of game on the Calgary Colts, or an ineligible receiver. Timeout Colts, because they had a guy coming off the field. So
again, let's go downstairs, and here's Kevin.
Thanks a lot, Dave. Further to these injuries down here on the Husky sideline, as we mentioned, left guard Jack Hanna, they're taking a very long look at his left knee. Now, during the conversation that was hit from both sides, it was one of those, high-low kind of hits that can happen along the offensive line. Also, the training staff is taking a look at the ankle of linebacker Darian Needy, number 36, so they're taking a look. But the real concern that has Ian McLean, he's come back to the training area a couple of times, but the real concern right now is Brad Lonhart, and they're really taping the shoulder. Great work by our camera here on the sideline. Matt, my buddy down here, he's doing some fantastic work, but the concern right now is number 16, Brad Lonhart, of course. Back up to you, Dave.
Great shot from downfield. Much appreciated, Kevin. 7:03 to go here in this second quarter. 7-3 in favor of the Calgary Colts over the Edmonton Huskies. In the pocket, Yanchuk fires it along the sidelines. It is complete to number 9, Connor Bergersen, and the Salisbury Comp wide receiver is able to pick up the first down, a gain of about 13 yards on the play. And you're right about one thing, Tommy Yanchuk has a rifle for an arm.
He really does. And again, Connor Bergersen in that play really did a nice job. He knew exactly where he was when he caught the ball, and he had to feather the sideline to get up into first down territory. Reminds me of what Marco Iannuzzi used to do for the Huskies.
Ball on the 15-yard line. First down for the Huskies. Into the end zone. Touchdown! Connor Bergersen.
A very well-run route and an excellent pass by Tommy Yanchuk.
And again, he had to come back to the ball for the completion. Great job by Connor Bergersen.
It is. He's getting separation from the defensive backs, and Tommy put that ball right where it had to be. It had to be because the safety was coming downhill on it. And Connor did a great job of concentrating. So it was a well-run play all around. The offensive line blocked it well. Tommy passed it well, and Bergersen ran a good route and caught the ball well.
All right, Connor Nichol will hold for Cole Sabourin. Ball is up. It's through the uprights. And we have a 10-7 football game in favor of the Edmonton Huskies over the Calgary Colts with 6:33 to go in the second quarter. And we talked about that momentum, and there it is.
And it's amazing that they were able to get it with a rookie quarterback. Usually when you got young kids out of high school, you know, they're nervous. Talking with Coach McLean about Tommy, he said he is a very confident young man. He knows what he's capable of doing. He loves his team, loves the receivers. He's never had receivers like this before. So it's a nice combination. Now, as the game goes on, the Colts are going to try to do everything they can to really rattle him because he is a rookie. And I would suspect the next time the Huskies get the ball, you're going to see a fair amount of blitz.
He doesn't look like a rookie out there. He doesn't behave like a rookie out there. I mean, his arm is just tremendous. That ball was on a line, right into the arms of Bergersen.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're getting ready for the kickoff. Cole Sabourin from about the 45-yard line. Couple of receivers down around the goal line. Good end over end down to about the 5. It's taken there by number 19, Jesse Kuntz, and Kuntz is piled up at the 25-yard line, and the Calgary Colts will take the football over at that point with 6:26 to go.
Again, Cole Sabourin did a great job on that kick.
All right, let's go downstairs. Once again, here's Kevin Donnan.
Thanks, Dave. Another injury update. Left guard Jack Hanna has left the Husky bench. He's gone into the room, walking very gingerly on that left leg. Now, a bit of an injury update on Brad Lonhart. He has the shoulder pads back on, so he may take another shot and get back into this football game. Dave?
That's got to be good news for Huskies fans everywhere. There's the handoff to Minchell. Minchell again is piled up, going nowhere as that big defensive line of the Edmonton Huskies helped out on a little by number 41 backfield, or the linebacker rather, Jason Brown. And I'll tell you what, this defensive line has just done a number on Minchell up the middle. He's not going anyplace in this football game.
Well, a big part of that, Bryce Lee is really controlling the nose guard from his nose guard position, controlling the center, and he's two-gapping a lot. So it's allowing your middle linebacker to get pressure, and here they come again.
Wasdell on the rollout, pass complete on the far side, Minchell. And Minchell carries it up to about the 34-yard line. I think he needed to get just over the 35, so he's going to be short of the first down by about a yard and a half. And again, it's a 2-and-out for the Calgary Colts. And again, this Huskies defense, as they did leading up to the last touchdown, have managed to hold.
And if you notice on that play, the Colts had a lot of success early in the game with that play. The Husky defensive backs and linebackers closed much quicker on it. And that's what they're starting to get into a rhythm. It's what they need.
Here's a good spiraling kick. It'll come down to about the 44-yard line, taken there by Berzak. Berzak dipsy-doodling around a couple of tacklers and finally taken down just over the 50-yard line. He just seems to be like a pinball bouncing off the tackler.
He really does. And there he searched out a seam, found it, and he got about 4 yards, 5 yards. Instead, if he'd run like a lot of kids would run lateral on that and would have got nothing or lost yardage.
So 5:05 to go to halftime, and the Huskies again in good field position on their own 50-yard line.
I don't think we will see Brad Lonhart back in the game till the second half. I think they're going to go with Tommy and then take a real good look at Brad's shoulder.
Well, they're not showing any kind of blitz. Whoop, now one of the linebackers comes up and he backs off. There's the pass. It is complete on this side. And a great job of blocking by number 9, Connor Bergersen, on that catch by number 86 for the Huskies, Zach Desiatnik from Holy Rosary in Lloydminster.
We just got a penalty, and we're going to see who it's on. It might be on the Husky bench by the looks of it. Either that or one of the Colts said something. It looks to me like it's an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
It is against.
That was a very late call. Very late. So what they're saying on that, it was a hitch screen, and what they're saying, blocking was taking place before the ball was caught. And I'll tell you, they get away with so much in the game on these things that this is a call that you don't see made too often on that play. And as long as they're consistent with it, I don't have a problem with it. But if they're inconsistent with it, then there's a problem.
On the offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
That'll cost the Huskies 10 yards and move the ball all the way back to their own 40-yard line. And they'll have first down over, but a whole pile to go, 20 yards. Tommy Yanchuk in at quarterback for the injured Brad Lonhart. Yanchuk, 6'2", 195 pounds. He's a big kid. There's the handoff up the middle to Jimmy Airy, and the north-south runner will pick up about 5 yards, and it'll be 2nd and 15. But that play very quick to develop, and it looked like Airy had a chance to break it.
Looked like it. He saw that the hole closed on him quickly. He hurdled it and tried to get through. If he'd have been able to keep his balance, he would have had a run on it.
So it's a gain of 5. It'll be 2nd and 15. Ball on the 45-yard line. Out of the shotgun is Tommy Yanchuk. Single receiver to the far side. 3 on this side, and going to the far side. The big pass way up there, and it is going to go incomplete. Intended for Tanner Buchanan, and that was almost a jump ball for him and the defender, number 9, Jordy Kabamba.
It was, and it's a little difficult throwing to that side because you're looking into the sun over there, and it becomes very difficult. One thing that I did notice in that series, I was surprised that Calgary Colts did not blitz, and they just let their coverage take care of things.
3:37 to go in the second quarter. 10-7 in favor of the Huskies. There's a high snap once again. Sabourin is able to get it away. It'll bounce down at about the 30-yard line. A good bounce in favor of the Huskies. It'll go all the way down over the goal line, sit there on the goal line, and it'll be taken out to the 5 and finally stopped at about the 7-yard line, so they'll bring the ball all the way out.
No, that ball never went in the end zone. I don't believe so. It's going to stay out about the 7-yard line.
I felt like it did. But
now the receiver was in the end zone, but the ball never went in there.
All right, take a look at it here on the replay.
See, it's on the line, so they're not going to call it.
Your eyes are younger than mine anyway.
No, I'm just guessing. I'm giving the officials credit.
And they do bring it out to the 20-yard line.
Yeah,
so
it was on the line, and that means it's in the end zone. So, it's one of those things. It was a great punt.
All right, twin setbacks for the Calgary Colts as they try something a little different. Second man through is Nichol, and Nichol is piled up once again right at the line of scrimmage. Taken down there on the play by Donovan Bergmeyer from Sherwood Park.
Now in the warm-up, the Colts showed a fair amount of two-back set. And this is what they're doing here, hoping to run against that 30 front. Excellent job by Bergmeyer, excellent job by the linebackers in the field. And if you notice, Nitty's back in the ball game. He's all right.
Had a chance to talk with Darian for a few minutes last night at practice. Very personable young man. 3rd year with the Edmonton Huskies. Single setback now and back in the pocket. Looking downfield. Wasdell. The ball is up and it is incomplete. And really uncovered was number 17, Dallas Burke. Nobody near him.
Well, they had coverage downfield, and then for whatever reason, the defender broke off coverage. You'll see it to the inside here. And he went inside. If he kept coming outside, it was okay. Thank goodness the ball was thrown out of bounds. Going back to Darian Nitty, you're talking about being a very personable young man. As personable as he is an excellent. Well, he is on the field. He's a hitter. But he is a very good football player, and he's really maturing. Last year, he really came along, and he's even playing better this year.
So for the third consecutive series, it's 2 and out for the Calgary Colts. And again, the kick by Dallas Burke is shanked, this time to this side of the field. It'll be a short one, and great field position for the Huskies with 2.5 to go in the second quarter.
That's right, and this is going to be very interesting now to see how the Huskies attack. Did they do it on the ground? Did they do it in the air? Knowing Coach Walters, he's going to go for the juggler here, and could go play action pass early, maybe run on first down. If it's second and medium, go play action.
Ball on the 45-yard line, 1st and 10. Tommy Yanchuk in at quarterback for Brad Lonhart, out with a shoulder injury. Play action. Yanchuk being hurried, and he is taken down from behind for a loss of about 7 yards. And in there to make the tackle was number 99, Kennedy Iludigwe from Ernest Manning High School in Calgary.
Now, that was interesting because it looked to me like there was an illegal substitution by the Colts on that. Man came in very late, no call. Now, that tells me off that play there was pretty good coverage. And enabled the inside people to force outside.
Loss of 6. Play action again. Back in the pocket. Good coverage. There's the pass. It is knocked down at the last minute. Some good defensive play by number 7, Noah Williams, intended for Tanner Buchanan.
Again, that's a difficult play. That like a comeback route, but to the wide side of the field. And even pro quarterbacks have trouble with that. It's a long throw. And, you know, on that, Tommy believed he could do it and didn't quite get it there.
It's a long time for the football to be in the air, and that much more time for the defender to come back on it.
That's exactly right.
There's the snap. It's a good one this time, and a fake, and then he gets it away. Cole Sabarin will kick it down to about the 25-yard line. They say that they'll mark it out at around the 26. So I think we've seen Cole do that before in last season. He would fake the run and then kick it away just at the last minute. So it kind of keeps the defense guessing a little bit.
Well, to a degree, but in that situation, he was in a position he could have pinned them real deep. Mm-hmm. And in that fake, it looked like he almost stumbled a little bit, and his punt was very poor because of it. So now they're in a little bit better field position than they were.
Wasdell takes off up the middle and slides down shy of the 35-yard line at about the 33 for a gain of about, we'll call it 5 yards on the play, 6.
5 or 6 yards. A smart play by the quarterback. They get down, and they're going to get going now with 1:50 to go. Let's see if the Husky defense puts a little pressure on here.
Well, they've got 3 flankers. Calgary Colts with 3 flankers to this side of the field. Nichol, the lone setback. The pass this side complete at the 35-yard line for number 1, Bennett Thompson. But again, short of the first down, and again a 2 and out for the Calgary Colts. That Huskies defense under Coach Tobert really coming of age, I guess you'd say, in this second quarter.
I agree, and it looked to me like they were in a zone there, and they closed on it very fast. And, of course, held them to a 3rd down situation.
For the 4th consecutive series. So Dallas Burke will try and kick this one away. He's been shanking the last couple. Gets a good high one away. It's going to be short. It'll come down to Berzak at about the center field stripe. Berzak finds some room up the middle. He's at the 45-yard line and knocked back to around the 47-yard line. He was just like 1 step away from breaking this one.
He was, but this should be a 15-yard no yards penalty, not a 5-yarder. And we'll see what the call is, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be. It should be 15.
No yards. On the kicking team, number 46. 15-yard penalty. First down.
There you see Berzak. I'm sure his eyes must have been like saucers. He saw that big hole standing right there in front of him, and it closed up really quickly. But then he found another one to the left side. And
knowing Berzak, he just got a little grin on his face and go.
Berzak in at the lone setback. Here is Yanchuk. Hand off Berzak left side. Cuts to the middle and is stopped after a gain of perhaps 5 yards on the play.
Brad Bergersen, the ball carrier for the Huskies.
You know, he's just so quick in there, and you see this on his cut. He gets up the field very fast.
What I'm liking is the offense. A little bit of running, a little bit of passing. Very, very even offense. And there's a play action pass. It is incomplete and intended out there for number 34, Jacob Battenfelder. That one really didn't develop the way they wanted it to.
The play was there. It was the first bad pass, real bad pass that Yanchuk had thrown. Threw it into the dirt. Now, he took a hand in the eye on that. The official, I don't think, saw it. They were right by his mask, but if you see it on replay, I guess we're not going to see it. The linebacker, number 47, came in and reached and caught him right in around the eye.
All right.
And don't get me wrong, I don't believe it was intentional at all, but it's just one of those things that happens.
Cole Sabourin with a 45-yard attempt and a little bit of wind more or less behind him. He's got the length. Does he have the accuracy? No, it's just to the right of the goalpost. And the Colts will take a knee, Jordy Kabamba, and it'll be an 11-7 football game with 54.5 seconds to go in this second quarter.
Now, I don't know if Cole was trying to play the breeze that's been here and actually punch it because there was no breeze on that play. It's kind of stopped. And
in golf, we'd call that a pull.
You could call it whatever you want. In my opinion, it's just a bad kick. Can't see it. We had on the replay the previous play, but you can't see the injury to Yanchuk.
Wasdell in the pocket, looking downfield, fires it into the middle, and is picked up at the 50-yard line. It's taken there by Brett Vanderkorpet. Vanderkorpet still going and finally stopped after running it back about 12, 13 yards or so. And the Huskies with the second turnover of the football game with 43.4 seconds to go in the second quarter.
Now here's a situation where Coach Tolbert dropped the guys off in his own coverage, and Vanderkorpet from Harry Ainley High School did a real nice job, got in position, and the defensive line kept enough pressure on the quarterback. He held the ball a little too long, and by the time he let it go, instead of getting over the linebacker, he put it into the linebacker. Excellent play for the Huskies.
From the 32-yard line, Yanchuk rolling to the outside. The pass, it is incomplete, intended out there for number 34. I'm sure Jacob Battenfelder, although he was nowhere near it actually.
Now again,
mix up.
If you notice that 47 was in the face. Oh, this is the previous play. You can see how he was holding on to the ball too long. And you see what happened. Excellent run there by Vanderkoppen too. On this last play with Yanchuk, it looks to me like 47, their linebacker now, is spying Yanchuk. He's just staying with him and going after him on every play. And this is what we talked about earlier about getting pressure on him.
That one almost picked off just over the outstretched arms of number 44, Cameron Mons. And again, number 47, Reese Sampson, in there pressuring Yanchuk.
And I believe wherever they're lining him up, they're just spying, and he's going to the quarterback hard. And smart play by the Calgary Colts defense. You got a young quarterback, get him off his rhythm.
They may want to think about keeping Jimmy Airy in there in the backfield if they continue to do that in the second half. And again, it will be Sabourin, this time from about the 39-yard line with 34 seconds to go in the second quarter. There's the snap. And again, the length, and it is through the uprights. And with 29 seconds to go in the football game, it's a 13-7, or make that 14-7.
However, we have a flag on the play.
Another flag.
By the looks of it, it's against the Colts. Now that'll either be added on the kickoff, or if they take it,
If it's a 10-yarder.
If it's over 5 yards, if it's 10-yarder, it'll be first down for the Huskies. And that's what it is, by the looks of it.
Contacting the kicker. On
There
the
we go.
defense, number 44. That 10-yard penalty will result in first down.
Automatic first down.
And you can bet there will be some blue air inside the Calgary Colts dressing room after that call.
Might be on the bench right now.
Results in a 1st and 10.
Now we're going to see what they do with 47. Are they going to keep spying him on Yanchuk and bring him? Looks like he's walking up.
From the 22-yard line, Airy stays in there to block. There's the pass. It is complete touchdown. Beautifully thrown. Well caught by number 5, Harrison Cable. And Tommy Yanchuk just led him perfectly.
Now here's the thing that I really like about Rick Walderson. Comes back to him, lets him go with the deep ball, and he's very confident in. He's going to a second-year receiver. This is a young receiving corps, and he made an excellent catch on it. You can't throw a touchdown pass better than that. We're always talking to our quarterbacks about getting air under the ball in that deep ball so the receiver can go to the ball, and he did that perfectly.
And the point after is down, up, and through. And with 23.6 to go in this second quarter, it's an 18-7 football game in favor of the Edmonton Huskies.
Another thing about that play that the defensive coaches, the Colts, might want to, 47 went with the receiver on that play. He did not come after Yanchuk.
And they did keep Jimmy Airy back there as a blocker too,
They
although
did.
on the other side. So the Huskies will be kicking off once again from their 45-yard line. And I think if you're going to look back on this second quarter, you're going to have to say it belonged to the Edmonton Huskies defense, but we'll talk more about that at halftime. This defensive squad has really turned things around from that first quarter when the Colts pretty much had their way, but were only able to come up with about 7 points or so.
You're exactly right, and it goes back to that fumble recovery by the Huskies. And then the Huskies came down and got the field goal, and that started it. And even though Brad Lonhart's out of the game, they keep coming. There's a lot of confidence in this team right now.
All right, here's the kickoff. It's a good one down to the goal line. It's taken there by number 9, Jordy Kabamba. Kabamba finds some room on the outside, gets around one man, then is taken down quickly at about the 27-yard line. In there to make the tackle was young Ben Wilton. He's actually the third-string quarterback out of Spruce Grove.
You know what's interesting about that, again, deep ball, and right now Cole Sabrin is kicking off very well. That ball goes to the goal line. They'd like to get over the 35. They only got it to about the 28-yard line.
I was watching him in the warm-up from the 45, and he was putting it almost to the touch line.
That's right. He's got a good leg. And he's starting to get confidence in his kicking. And, you know, even with that injury last year that took him out for the rest of the season, he's come on and he's worked hard.
And even without him, the Huskies still had a great last half of the season. Made it all the way to the semifinal. And just 1 second away, really, from advancing to the league final. That will be the end of the first half of play, with the Edmonton Huskies leading the Calgary Colts by a score of 18-7. JB, you were going to say?
Well, as I say, it goes back to the Husky defense doing what they do, and when they forced that turnover, it changed the momentum of the game. And when the Huskies and Brad Lonhart was able to get the Huskies down for the field goal.
All right, let's go downstairs. Kevin Donnan is there with the head coach of the Edmonton Huskies, Ian McLean. Kevin, take it away.
Thank you so much, Dave. I am here with the head coach, Ian McLean. If I could ask you, halfway through the first quarter, whether you would be up by 11.
Not with the penalties that we've been taking. So we got to be smarter. We obviously shot ourselves for the first quarter, and we gave them a lot of free ground on penalties. So we got to be smarter with that.
Got to be really happy. The 2 turnovers late in the second quarter. Is the silver lining right now your defense?
Yeah, D rally on. They took some penalties too, so we got it on both sides of the ball. So they played well. They rallied on the football. They've been showing a good team defense on there, so it's good to see that. And offense is coming together now. Offense is starting to move the ball in the second quarter.
Question about the quarterbacks. First question, Brad Lonhart. Will we see him in the second half?
It's about halftime. We'll find out then. And then Tommy's in there now, and he's doing a good job.
I was going to say that you must be impressed with the rookie. I mean, he comes in and it looked pretty settled there at times.
Yeah, I mean, we got 3 new stars in the offensive line.
Well, thanks, Coach. Appreciate it, and good luck the rest of the way. We'll be back in just a few moments with the second half. The score at the half is the Edmonton Huskies 18, the Calgary Colts 7. Back up to you, Dave.
All right, thank you very much, Kevin. And we can talk about how well the defense played in that second quarter, but really, I think the turnaround was, as the coach mentioned, stopping those penalties.
That's a huge part of it, and as you know, early in the game, we've seen it last year at the start of the season, a lot of penalties. Get rid of those penalties, now the game can flow. And again, I go back to defense with that, to forcing that turnover, and then it seemed at that point, once they got the confidence, from that point on, all of a sudden, the penalties started to go down. And I think that's all a big part of it together, that you have to have that confidence, play with reckless abandon within the rules. When you're up tight, you're jumping offside, you're a little bit of a late hit or whatever, and that affected them dramatically early.
Home opener, a little bit of a case of the butterflies in that first quarter as well.
I believe that with both teams, and I think you're seeing it more with the Colts now because the Huskies' veteran defense is really starting to put some pressure on them.
And that really has been the difference. The veteran defense of the Edmonton Huskies versus the much younger defense of the Calgary Colts, and really the veterans have come up big.
They really have, and I look at how Jimmy Airy's playing. Last week he had a real good game against Windsor. This game, I think, even though you don't look at his yardage, it probably isn't that much. He's playing extremely well. His blocking is excellent.
We haven't seen much of Jimmy on the special teams. Last week in the second half, he decided he was going, or at least the coaching staff decided he would be taking the punts and kickoffs, and did a great job. He's got a special style about him when he's running back punts.
Well, he's got that excellent speed, but he's also developed the power over the years, and he's so strong now that he's not afraid to blast into people, and he will. On that one big one last week, he was a step from breaking it, and he was very upset with himself that he didn't break it. But he's just running the ball very, very well.
55-yard run back in that game. So I'll tell you what, while we take a look at these statistics, we'll go downstairs. And once again, here is Kevin Donnan with a special guest.
Thanks so much, Dave, and welcome back to this ICU video broadcast of the 2017 Prairie Football Conference season here in Week 2. The Edmonton Huskies up 18-7 at the half, and I'm joined by Tom Van Amsterdam, the general manager of the Edmonton Huskies. Bit of a wild one. Your head coach was a little upset after the first quarter, but things settled down in the second quarter, and you got to be pretty happy.
Oh yeah, no, we got a good team, and we got to regroup a little bit. But at the same time, it's penalties, right? Like if the boys can stay out of the penalty box, we're fine. So.
Now, you just completed a very historic trip out east. You went out to Windsor for Week 1. You took on the AKO Fratman and you came home with a big win, 30-7. What did that trip mean to the team in terms of bonding, in terms of getting this team prepared for the season? What's it like to get the team out on the road and get a big victory like that?
Well, it was a great trip for the whole league basically, because we went into. It was a long day. It was a very long day. We went up, got on a plane at about 6:30 and got home at about 1 o'clock because we chartered. But nonetheless, it was great. Windsor treated us extremely well. A great organization out there, and I think they learned a little bit on how the PFC does things, because they do things a little bit differently on the other side. So. It was a great all-around trip that both sides really learned a lot.
Now, you've got a special event coming up next month. Tell us a little bit about it. Tuesday, September 12th, Santa Maria Goretti. It's a driver pitching wedge for Dave Rozak from this location, but a big event. And tell us a little bit about it. This is a really exciting evening, especially with the Hall of Fame.
Yes, exactly. It's our we haven't done one of these in a long time, but nonetheless, it's a banquet that we're going to be hosting on September 12th. And all the information's on our website, so you can go there online and take a look at its tables are available, or just single seats are available as well. Mark Kennedy's going to be our host, and he'll be doing a little round table with 3 alumni. So it'll be Tim Princeton, Grant Shaw, and Gerald LaRose. They'll be doing a little round table, and it's all emceed by our friend Jason.
Jason Greger?
Jason Greger, he's going to kill me.
You're in trouble now.
I'm in big trouble now, but yeah, Jason Greger, he'll be emceeing the whole event, so it's going to be a great night. It'll be awesome. So.
And if you say you saw this promo on ICU, John Belmont might pick up your bar tab.
Yeah, if he comes, let's hope. I don't know. I see him up there, but he's not waving yet. So
we'll get the coach out for that one. Yeah, and like I say, worth the price of admission as well. You got the Hall of Fame, you've got the fireside chat, you've got the keynote speaker, and the chance to meet the coach, John Belmont. So, I mean, what more do you want than that? Want to thank my guest, Tom Van Amsterdam, the GM of the Edmonton Huskies, who's a happy man. 18-17 at the half. But anything can happen in PFC football, and we're in for a fantastic second half on a beautiful night here in downtown Edmonton. Let's send things back upstairs to Dave Rozak and the coach, John Belmont.
Appreciate that, Kevin. Good job there with Tom Van Amsterdam. It's going to be just such a great occasion for the Edmonton Huskies come September the 12th. A big gala dinner and great MC. Jason Greger is going to be the MC, and it's going to be a lot of fun, too.
It will be a lot of fun, and probably the best part of it is going to be to see players from all the way back in 1954 up to the present day. That's 63 years of football. And there should be a whole lot of people there to see that.
It's going to be a lot of fun. There's no question about that. I mean, I know guys like Blake Dermott and other great Huskies from the past, Tony Cicchetti and so many others. They're just, you could go on and on with names from the Canadian Football League that really were... they cut their teeth here in the PFC.
Well, they did, and you look at even young Mark Kennedy. I remember the day he came to us and said he was going to go curling instead of playing football. I thought he was crazy, but he sure did the right thing.
I can guarantee you he's making a whole lot more money playing curling than he would be playing football.
He sure is. He's a fine young man, too.
All right, let's talk a little bit about that first half of play, and what jumps out at you right away is the number of yards passing for the Edmonton Huskies versus the Calgary Colts, 125-99, even with a young rookie quarterback in there for most of the second quarter.
Exactly, and again, we've talked about this, but when the Colts put pressure on him, when they spied 47 on him and brought him to Yanchuk, he didn't do that well. If you look at his passing percentage, it's pretty low. But when they didn't do it, he made them pay a price, and threw 2 touchdown passes.
Total offense for both these teams, 186 yards for the Edmonton Huskies and 119 for the Calgary Colts. Now, that's fairly close, James, or John, but when you take a look at it, the Edmonton defense bent, but they didn't break.
Well, they did, and a lot of the yardage, if you remember, the Colts got was early in the first and the first quarter, and part of that was because of the penalties that the Huskies did. They had them stopped a few times, and then they get a penalty, and the Colts would keep going. So in the second quarter, it was totally turned around.
And talk about the ability of the offense, particularly the Huskies, to do the little passing play, little running play. Very, very balanced offense.
They're mixing it up very well, and again, Coach Walters is a master of that. He feels the game very well. He sees the field very well, and he picks the plays for his athletes where their strengths are, and he uses them extremely well.
So Coach Ian McLean, of course, would not reveal whether Brad Lonhart will be back in this game. In case you missed it, he is out with an injured shoulder. Was it his throwing? It was his throwing shoulder that was being taped up. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But in the meantime, young Tommy Janchuk seems to be holding down the fort very well.
And I think that they will continue with Tommy. That's what I would expect.
All right, Janchuk in that first half of play, in that one quarter that he played, was 3 for 8 with 49 yards. And I think we're getting ready. We're going to go downstairs. Kevin Donnan has Coach Matt Blocker, or he's going to try and get Matt Blocker to talk to him in just a couple of minutes. In the meantime, Brad Lonhart was 7 for 9, and a great first quarter for him.
Well, Brad, he always throws for a high percentage, but again, if you look at Janchuk, he was only 3 for 8? Yeah. But 2 touchdowns. And he can put the ball on a line. He's got a lot of velocity on his ball, but what I really like, the second touchdown pass that he threw, he put a lot of air under the ball and let the receiver be a receiver. So the receiver was able to go to the ball, and Harrison Cable is a very good receiver out of Leduc High School.
Dylan Minshew, we need to talk about him. He was expected to be a one-man wrecking crew, but thanks to the defense, he was only allowed 24 yards on 8 carries. Let's go downstairs. Here's Kevin Donnan with Matt Blocker.
Thanks, Dave. Well, both teams have made their halftime adjustments, and never a good sign when the head coach is the last coach to leave the room. Any paint left on the walls, Coach Blocker?
It's not time yelling and screaming. We still got a half of football to compete with, so I'm all about, playing 60 minutes, and we'll see what happens at the end of the game. But, we played a good half. We had a brain fart for about 2 minutes there. We made some dumb plays on specials. But other than that, this is a hell of a football team. We were competing well in the first half, and we just got to keep our heads up, keep working hard, and make some plays, and we're capable of that.
Husky defense was especially strong in that first half. What is your offense going to have to do to get really on track?
Well, we got to do what we did when we came out in the beginning of the game. We blocked well. We got rid of the ball quick, let our playmakers make plays. And, and we were consistent early. We were driving the ball. We had a fumble down here. And from that point forward, offensively, we kind of stopped doing what we were doing well. So we got to get back in that and compete. This game's about competing. And we got to compete like hell. And if we do that, we'll fight our way back. And if not, it could be a long second half.
But this game definitely has a bit of a playoff feel, too. I mean, this is an intense football game, good rivalry.
Absolutely. Whenever we get together, it's going to be a lot of fun when the Huskies and Colts battle. And this one's no different. We just got to give everybody in the stands here maybe a little excitement, a little heartbreak.
Good luck in the second half, Coach Blocker. Appreciate your time.
All right, thanks a lot.
Take care. Back up to you, Dave, and Coach, with an 11-point lead. The Huskies are confident, but as Coach Belmont says, absolutely anything can happen in the PFC. So let's find out here in the second half.
Got that one right, Kevin. JB, we were talking before the interview about Dylan Minshew. Last week he had 128 yards through the air. This week, but 31 yards through the air.
In the first half, that's right. And they like to run him a lot on flat routes, and then he uses his speed to get upfield. The Huskies have been closing very quickly on him. And remember, the Huskies have had a week to prepare for the Colts. And so they know what they're doing. They're a veteran defense. And if you look at these linebackers like Nitty, like Brown, they're very, very aggressive, extremely aggressive. Their defensive ends are aggressive. And in that second quarter, you notice how the defensive ends were containing the quarterback, forcing him inside. And that's what they're going to try to continue to do. Now, they might change up how they do it. Sometimes they might do it with a linebacker. Sometimes they'll do it with the end. But they're going to mix it up.
Lost, I guess, in the shuffle because we talked about Harrison Cable and how well he's played in his second year with the Huskies. Connor Bergersen had a great first half as well.
Well, he did, and again, for young receivers, if they watch Connor, he's a very aggressive receiver, but he really comes back to the ball well. He gets separation off a back, and then he breaks to the ball and comes to it, and he's always moving when he catches the ball. He's either coming to the ball or on a deep route, which they don't throw a lot to him, but when they do, he's always moving to the ball. He doesn't stop.
All right, to start the second half of football, the Calgary Colts will be kicking off to the Edmonton Huskies, and waiting for it on about the 15-yard line is Burzak and Jimmy Airy. It'll come down to Burzak at the 15. Cuts to the middle. still has some room to run and is finally stopped at around the 28-yard line. And in there to make the tackle, the big guy, number 90 for the Calgary Colts, Tanaka Mutano.
Now there's a case again where the Huskies did not get the yardage they would have liked to have got, and the Colts are happy with the field position they've got. They've got them inside the 30-yard line with a first down, and the Huskies are going against the wind, what wind there is. It's dropped dramatically.
All right, it's on the 28-yard line. 1st and 10. Huskies lead it 18-7. There's the handoff to the far side. It'll be taken there by number 2, Connor Nichol. And the speedy little, I guess we could call him a scat back type runner, picks up about 7 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd and 3.
7 to 8 yards. That's a little fly action. The Huskies like to run this, bring the receiver across, get him the ball. And if they don't play that right with Brad Lonhart, they would run. It would be like a zone read. But in this case, they just go and get after it. So.
Okay, under center, Yanchuk. Flags fly, handoff, right side. Gain of about 10 yards in play again, Connor Nichol.
Now there's an offside, I believe, here, and I don't know who it's on. It was basically the same type of play, a quick handoff. It's against the Colts. I got a feeling they made so many yards they might decline the penalty.
Defense, number 55. That penalty will be declined. Result of the play, first down.
Now again, that was a little different from the previous play, but it was the same handoff.
Yeah.
And again, to Nichol, and he got the corner well and got vertical.
Out of the shotgun this time, Yanchuk fakes, pass incomplete, well over the outstretched arms of number 9, Connor Bergersen. And
we have a rough play on the field against 99 against Yanchuk.
Let's go downstairs. Here's Kevin Donnan.
Thanks a lot, Dave. And we do an injury update. Jack Hanna, the starting left guard, he's in street clothes, still trying to walk on that injured left knee. He is finished for this ball game. Brad Lonhart still has the shoulder taped up. He came out with the shoulder pads off. He has an ice pack on the right shoulder. It looks like he is finished for tonight. Dave?
Tommy Yanchuk, it's in his hands now. There's the handoff up the middle to Jimmy Airy, and Airy will pick up close to 7 yards on the play. And it looks like Yanchuk is kind of playing it close to the vest, just keeping on the ground and keep the ball rolling. I mean, it's working for them, so why not?
What Tommy Yanchuk is doing is exactly what Rick Walters wants him to do. He's handing the ball off and protect himself. He just took a hard hit. So what Rick is doing, he's saying, hey, hand the ball off. You got 2 good backs. Let's use them.
All right, timing was off on that one, and there's the handoff up to the right side.
Now that could be procedure on the Huskies, but I don't know who jumped. Jimmy Airy moved early, but he's in the backfield. He's allowed to do that.
All right, we'll wait and see.
Offside on the Huskies. I'd like to get a number on that, see who it is.
We'll move the ball back 5 yards.
Now here's what I believe the Colts will do on this. They're going to get a 2nd and long situation. And because of that, I believe you'll see a blitz here.
We have an injured Calgary Colt down on
Offside on the offense, number 6. Penalties declined, 3rd down.
Tanner Buchanan being called on the offside.
You know, are they going to kick the ball? They might go for it here. Coach Walters has been known to like to go for it, and Coach McLean's the same. Keep the pressure on, and it'll be interesting to see what they do. They've got about 1.5 yards, I believe.
Just checking on that injured Calgary player. We can't get a number. You never like it when the opposition starts taking their helmets off.
You don't.
You know that they know something.
You don't want to see anybody hurting out here, and these guys can get rolled up on in times, and
That's apparently where the injury happened, but we couldn't get a number for you.
It's number 45, Austin Daisy, one of the leaders of the defense here for the Colts, Dave, and a lot of concern, but he is back up on his feet. That's, number 45, Austin Daisy, one of the real defensive superstars in the PFC.
Well,
so glad to see he's on his feet.
That's right, Kevin. He's a middle linebacker, and he's a veteran, a very, very good football player.
Out of St. Francis Browns High School in Calgary, and a perennial entrant in the provincial championships. Them and, of course, Notre Dame Pride, always in there, always battling. They have a great rivalry, those two schools.
Oh, they do. And St. Francis has such a powerhouse reputation over many, many years.
And you're right, JB. They are going to go for it. There is a fumble on the snap, and the Colts will recover.
Well, it wouldn't matter whether they recovered or not. Fumbling the ball, they weren't going to get the first down. So that's too bad, but it happens.
Yeah.
And again, that might have been, I don't know if whether it's Tommy trying to pull out too early. Whatever it was, it's a turnover, and now the defense is going to have to play ball.
And so the Colts will take the football over on their own 41-yard line. 12:36 to go in the third quarter. They trail 18-7. You're watching PFC action from ICU Video from Clarke Park in Edmonton. There's the pass on the rollout intended for number 2, Evan Mann, well over his head. And I'll tell you what, Bailey Wasdell was being pressured big time.
He was, and what they did, they brought Darian Nitty from the offside, and they walked him up and then blitzed him. And you watch him here on this side. Now here he comes on the blitz. 91, Bergmeyer takes the inside shoulder of that tackle, so there's nobody there to block him. Now it's very fortunate for Wasdell that he rolled to the right.
Nitty with some pretty good speed for a linebacker.
He does have good speed.
Lone setback is Nichol, back in the pocket now, looking downfield. Wasdell is taken down from behind, and it will be a sack for number 27, Brett Vanderkorpen, who has had himself one whale of a football game.
He's having a good ball game, and again, there they brought the linebacker, and they're mixing it up, and the offensive line of the Colts is starting to have trouble reading who's coming. The play before, it was Nitty from the outside. The Huskies are starting to execute very well defensively.
But again, you have to give credit to the new defensive coordinator, right?
Absolutely.
Jeff Tobert has done just a great job. Can you look at it and see what the difference is in the defensive setup of this team versus last year?
No, it's basically the same thing. And this is the one thing about Jeff. He knows the defense from last year. He was a linebacker coach last year. And he knows it inside out. And what he's doing, he's taking the players this year, and basically the philosophy is the same, but he's using them to their strengths. Yeah. And whether it be in coverage or whether it be against the run.
Dallas Burke with the punt. Good spiraling kick down to about the 38-yard line. Taken there by Connor Nichol. Nichol avoids all kinds of tacklers and is finally taken down at about the midfield stripe. He is just a shifty little slot back and makes some great moves.
One thing that I hope that every young punt returner can run, you see a low drive like that, it's hard for the defenders to get down in coverage. So it gave good blocking angles for the Huskies, and they was able to get some seams and was able to get a good return.
All right, so Janchuk at quarterback. 3 flankers to the top of the field. There's the handoff to Berzak. Berzak at the 50 to the 45, still going, and is tackled at about the 43-yard line, and that will be enough for the first down.
Very well run play, right tackle, right guard sealed, and Berzak, it looked like he was going inside. He popped it outside and got a very good run.
Berzak, or not Berzak, but Janchuk carries the play on very well after the handoff. I mean, you know, he fools a couple of the tacklers or would-be tacklers along that defensive line once again.
Now, I don't know if he learned that in high school, but Brad Lonhart does that very well also. And it's the thing of if you ride the handoff and then you look back a bit at that man carrying the ball, you freeze the inside linebackers and you freeze the defensive ends. Allow blocking angles to occur. And that sets up your bootlegs. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised if you see a bootleg here down
Same
the road.
play. Berzak, right side. And a gain of close to about 16 yards on the play, and it'll be more than enough for the first down. The Huskies offense is on the move once again.
They are, and I think that they are taking advantage of the injuries on the defensive line and in the linebacker core of the Colts. They're keeping the ball on the ground. They're running it very well.
They're moving number 99, Kennedy Iladigwe, over to this side. And speaking of the defensive line, in there on the sack was Jamin Pelly. Pelly, the grand old man of this defensive line in his second year, and he's still only 19 years of age. He's got about 3 more years left of junior eligibility.
Now there's a case where Tommy Yanchuk on play action, he didn't follow the fake through. He was looking where he was passing the ball right off the bat, and in doing so, those linemen just came right to him. They weren't worried about that fella faking the ball. They knew he wasn't getting it. And Tommy held the ball too long, and that's what happens. You've got to let it go. A little screen action.
Screen over the head, intended for Brent Berzak.
And again, here's the inexperience of Tommy. And when on that first play, when he got sacked, all of a sudden it was long yardage, second and long, makes it tough. He's going to be fine. They'll settle him down. But I think you might see them stick with a little more of the running game. As long as they can run the ball effectively and keep the Colts pinned in their own area, they're going to continue to do so.
Cole Sabarin, once again, with the field goal attempt. This will come from about the 42-yard line. And again, he's got the length, but it's going to go off the inside of the goalpost and in for the 3 points.
He Jackie Parkered it right there. Cole hit that ball very well, but he did pull it, and from the angle, he was over middle of the field to the right hash and hitting the inside of the post. There's only one way it could go, and that's back through the goalpost.
And so with 9:18 to go in the third quarter, things continue to go the way of the Huskies, 21-7. And boy, what a turnaround from last year in terms of, hey, they're getting some breaks every now and then.
Well, it is, and if you look here now, what the Colts are doing, they're taking the ball. They're not going to let Cole kick off to them. They've got the ball in the 35, which they were not getting to.
There's the pass. It is complete at the 45. Out there for number 17, Dallas Burke from the Calgary Midget Broncos system. And looks like he's going to have enough for the first down, a 10-yard gain.
And, you know, that well-executed play, and if you notice the quarterback on that, just quick release, let it go. It's a short side hitch pass, a deep hitch, and you usually can get about 10 yards on those. If you're in loose coverage at all, it's going to be a completion.
There's a mix-up in the backfield once again, and the pass, it is complete, or incomplete rather, intended for number 19, Jesse Kuntz. And I'm not sure if that was going to be a direct snap to Nichol as he cut across, or whether it was
It was to the quarterback. The thing is that the receivers, I believe, on that play were offside, and that's what the call is. And so I think the Huskies will decline this penalty.
Yeah. Just that Nichol hesitated as he passed in front of the quarterback, so maybe his timing was off a little bit too.
It could have been.
On the offense,
and it could have been that they were going to do a direct snap. But that's a very difficult timing play, because you notice how shallow he was?
Yeah.
Well, that's a tough play to do. When you're deeper, it's easier. You got a little room to maneuver. But when you're tight, it has to be right there right now. Very difficult to do.
All right.
4 receivers wide.
4 on this side. Nichol takes off to the left side. There's the pass. It is in the flats, complete. Little swing pass out there to number 82, Brandon McIsaac, and McIsaac is hit hard and stopped after a gain of about 2 yards on the play.
Yeah, here's the interesting thing on that. If they had not taken them, it would have been 2nd and 10. Now it's 2nd and 9. I don't know what's better. Usually I've got a team in 2nd and 10. I'm not taking that penalty.
Calgary offense trying to get a little momentum going their way. Trailing by 14. Rolling to his left. Wasdell looking downfield. Now he's being hurried. And he's just snowed under at about the 38-yard line. In there to make the tackle or help out on the tackle was Brett Vanderkorpet once again.
Now again, they looped him to the outside, and it looked like he was the contained man. And when he came outside, it forced the quarterback inside, and everybody filled from inside. And excellent coverage down the field. Just a very, very good defensive play by the Huskies.
Second sack of the game for Vander Korpet, in addition to an interception as well. So he's had a great evening.
He's playing well.
All right, the punt is a good one this time, probably the best of the game. And it will go out of bounds at about the 20-yard line. Dallas Burke got a good high spiraling kick away that ended up not quite in the coffin corner, but still a good kick.
That was the best punt for both teams today. He turned the ball over. Absolutely outstanding punt.
First punt rolls out of bounds at the 20-yard line.
So they mark it out at the 21. And it'll be first down for the Huskies.
Now here's where the pressure is going to come on. This is the first time the Huskies with Tommy Yanchuk has been deep in his own zone.
Okay.
I expect a blitz now.
Okay, they're still running that 30 defense. Here they come from the outside, and you were right. Here's the handoff, and up the far side is Berzak, and Berzak is going to be tackled at the 50-yard line.
I think it might be a face mask penalty. We will see. It could be horse collar.
Somebody in there is saying that the Colts recovered the football. But they did.
Was recovered by the Colts, however, we do have flags on the play.
Now there's a case, if you watch this, they're going to blitz outside.
Number 47.
Watch what happens.
Yep.
They'll blitz, and they run Berzak right up the seam on his right side.
All right, referees are consulting. The question is, did he fumble it before the penalty, or?
Well, let's have a look. We get the play here. Looks like we're not getting the replay. It's against them. It's our ball. Or the Huskies' ball, I guess I should say. Here's the play going.
Horse collar tackle. Defense, number 28.
Now that's a big penalty after that game. 15-yard penalty.
And that'll move it all the way down into Calgary territory at the 45-yard line. And once again, the Huskies get the call. And Tommy Yanchuk standing at his own 50, or may take that the Calgary 50. Rolling to the outside, gets the pass. It is intended, once again, bit of a screenplay, actually. It looked like to Brant Berzak, but again, nowhere near him. He was being pressured and by a couple of the defenders. Not quite sure. Oh, number 47, you should have known.
Yeah.
Reese Sampson.
and you know, this is the thing. I think this is what they're going to do the rest of the game. They're going to keep pressuring them, and they should. And this is why the Huskies now, that's a linebacker. This is why they're getting running lanes. They got to pull him out on Yanchuk. They're going to get running lanes. There is coverage again.
Pass, it is complete at the 40-yard line. It'll be shy of the first down, but complete to Connor Nichol.
Now the question is going to be, are they going field goal or punt on this? I think they're going to pin them. I really believe they'll try to punt this in.
Well, given what happened on the last field goal attempt, you're probably right. Yeah.
And the big thing here is defense is playing so well. If you get them pinned and having to go the long field, you really put pressure on the Colts.
Of course, after a field goal, they can scrimmage the ball on their own 35-yard line.
That's right.
If this goes into the end zone, they can also run it out and get up to the 20, if not further.
That's right.
On the run back. So here's the punt, comes down to the 5-yard line. It's taken there by Jesse Kuntz. Kuntz is tied up and finally taken down after bouncing off a couple of tacklers. But a good job in there by number 43 for the Colts, Cole Lindbergh, another one of the Ardrossan graduates.
David, I think we're going to have illegal substitution on the Colts, and it'll be first down for the Huskies.
Wow.
Where those flags came down,
10-yard penalty.
that's what it is, first down for the Huskies. And this is where, again, in a young team, they're making little mistakes out there. They're getting a little frustrated, and it shows in these penalties. Now, Coach Blocker, you're talking about those seats over there being blue. That bus might be blue going. If this continues, I mean, they're very capable of coming back and making things happen. But as Coach Blocker said at halftime, if they continue doing what they're doing, it's going to be a long second half for them.
But you mentioned a couple of times earlier in the football game about the illegal substitution that the officials didn't see. That one they saw, and they made the call. Here's the handoff right side, Jimmy Airy. Airy gets through to the second level, but is stopped after a gain of about maybe 5 yards on the play. They'll mark it at about the 25-yard line. Gain of 4.
And again, an excellent play, the offensive line blocking well, where they're just put pressure on, keep putting pressure on. Now they're in field goal range now. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to run the ball again here.
3 flankers to the far side. Harry in that setback. Back in the pocket, into the end zone. It is incomplete. They're going to have
a first down. This is interference on the DB, I believe. And 2 flags came down on that.
And jumping around like he knew it was against Calgary was number 86, Zach Dezayatnik, who was the intended receiver. And he's another one of these first-year guys that has come in here to settle things down, and he's done a great job.
You know, there's one thing I love about the Husky coaching staff.
15-yard penalty.
They believe in these young kids. And they'll put a rookie in there, and you got a rookie quarterback going toward a rookie receiver. Drew the interference call. Now it's first down, 15-yard penalty.
And they'll mark it at the 10-yard line.
First and goal, Huskies.
Jimmy Airy and Tommy Yanchuk looking to the bench for instructions. And they're ready to go with a little bit of tempo offense here. Back in the pocket, into the end zone, or just shy of the end zone intended for number 9 of the Huskies, Connor Bergersen, but he couldn't hold on to it.
Connor Bergersen is going to be extremely upset with himself because that ball was right there. And if you see it here, there it is. Now, the guy was on him, but he should have had the ball. That was good coverage. That was not interference. It was good coverage.
So it'll be 2nd and 10. From the 10-yard line, we'll call it 2nd and goal. Play action once again, and throwing it into the end zone. It is intercepted. And the Calgary Colts with their first turnover of the football game. An interception into the end zone, and really just a mix-up by Tommy Yanchuk. I think he was throwing to a spot, and there wasn't a receiver there.
Well, I don't know if there was a broken route or it was Tommy. Obviously, one of the two. The coaches will get that straightened out. What you don't want to do is to allow a team to get back in the ballgame. We're talking about only a 2-touchdown difference here. Now, you've got them inside the 30-yard, you got them on the 20. Can you keep that pressure on, force a turnover, and get the ball back quickly?
Well, that Huskies defense has really risen to the occasion here a couple of times, and there's the pass. It is going to go incomplete, intended for Dylan Minchell. And again, a little bit of pressure from that defensive line, as I believe it was number 1 once again, Donovan Bergmeyer, jumping or hurdling the offensive line, putting a little pressure on.
It was Bergmeyer, but he hurdled. But I think what's happened, there's been so much pressure. I think the quarterback's getting rid of the ball a little earlier than he wants to. He's feeling pressure even when it's not there.
Rolling to the right side. There's the pass. It is intercepted at the 35-yard line. Taken by number 40, Tylen Smith. Smith still with it. He just will not go down. Finally, he is stopped at about the 28, or make that the 22-yard line. Tylen,
again,
what a great night this must be for him.
Well, a young football player, and he's making plays.
Another rookie.
That's what they expect out of him. That's the Husky organization. And, if you look at him here, I can tell you one thing. I know why he's not a running back watching him there. But,
and to add insult to injury, he's from Calgary Colts territory. He's from the old Spartans.
Well, I think anything north of Calgary should be Husky territory. There's offside on somebody here, and I think it might be the Huskies. We'll have to look and see.
Harry pushed down from behind.
But one thing that's happening here now, the defense is playing so well that they're forcing the Colt defense to be on the field constantly. And as we've talked about many times, that defensive football is reaction football. You start getting tired out there, it is very hard to react.
Oh, yeah.
So now the offense starts getting a run at you and just keeps going. Now, even though it's first and 15 here, I would not be a bit surprised if Coach Walters doesn't come back with the run or possibly a screen pass.
All right. It is a procedure call against the Huskies. That'll move the ball back. It'll be second and about, or make that first down in about 16 yards. There's the pass into the end zone, right in and out of the hands of number 6, Tanner Buchanan from Paul Kane High School in St. Albert, and he really should have had that.
Now that is about the 4th time I've seen Tommy Yanchuk get flattened by a defensive lineman. They're not flagging him, but the coaches of the Huskies have got to watch this. There's a situation, it's play action pass, and again, the ball should have been caught. It was a perfectly thrown deep ball. And I think what happened is the receiver saw the defensive back coming over on him on the play, and that caused his concentration to leave. Number 90, I believe it was 90 or 99, absolutely leveled Yanchuk at the end of the play.
Yanchuk looking downfield, now passes to the far side. There's something going on there with some routes or something, but there is a flag, and I believe there's going to be an interference call.
Well, I don't know if it's on defense. It might be on offense on that. Kind of stop the defensive back from getting out to the play. But this was supposed to be a hitch screen, I believe, and Tommy just threw it badly. He threw it over the hitch. There's your hitch inside. And they might be calling the Huskies for
number 5.
They're talking to the Colts, so it's definitely against the Huskies. I suspect they'll decline it. They might take him back, try to get him out of field goal range, and because it'll be a 10, 15-yard penalty. That's what it is.
Let's get the call from referee Brendan Murphy.
Forward pass interference. On the offense, number 5. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
When you get 2 players in the same area, something like that will generally happen. Harrison Cable was there, so was Burzak, and I think it was intended for Burzak on that little hitch.
I suspect, but whatever happened. I think Tommy misread the play, and those are things that happen. Now, I'm a little surprised because that tells me they're a little afraid of Tommy, because if you get him out of range and stop him, they got a punt. Now they're doing placement.
35-yard field goal attempt. It is good. And with 2:25 to go here in the 3rd quarter, it's a 24-7 football game in favor of the Edmonton Huskies.
And the importance thing of that, David, is now we've got a 3-score game. And it puts a lot more pressure on the Colts. So now they have got to start airing the ball out a fair amount. And their running game has been stymied. Their best passing game has been to the outside, and they're starting to get the pressure. The pressure's been on the quarterback very, very solidly. Now, the Huskies are in a 4. They're back to their 3.
Everybody downfield. In there blocking is Minchell. There's the pass on the far side at the 40-yard line, and they're going to call it incomplete, I do believe, or we'll wait and see if the whistle had gone, but the ball hit the turf.
The reason the ball hit the turf is the corner, Gaetano Minto, is usually a defensive halfback, but has had to replace Troy Hansen, absolutely leveled the receiver. He came right through him as the ball hit him in the hands. And that shows big for the defense.
Gaetano from Athabasca. Back in the pocket. And in there at quarterback, and incomplete, intercepted off of quarterback Duncan Little, off the hands of the intended receiver, right into the arms of number 3, Nathan Felito. And the McNally grad pulls off his first interception, and he's going to keep that football.
Now, the interesting thing to me about that, the quarterback actually threw a good ball. It was a tip by the receiver. The receiver should have had the ball. And excellent focus on the ball, what we call old tip drill, and excellent by the defensive back. First down for the Huskies in plus territory again.
Another turnover for the Huskies, leading 24-7 with a minute and a half to go in the third quarter. Rookie quarterback Tommy Yanchuk in for the injured Brad Lonhart. There's the handoff to Berzak, and he is stopped after a gain of about maybe, we'll call it 4 yards or so.
It's only about two from where they've where they've got it. Now, interestingly enough, the Colts just closed down. Now, their best linebacker's not been back in this ball game, and I don't see 45 out there. I haven't seen him out there.
Austin Daisy, he was injured in that late in the second half.
The Colts are bringing the heat on this. No, they're going with 3 and dropping.
There's the pass. It is complete. Won't be enough for the first down, but Harrison Cable had to come back for it, and he'll be shy of the first by about maybe a couple of yards or so.
You know, at this position, it's just smart football by the Huskies. Don't go crazy out here. If you don't get the first down, by ball position, you can pin them deep. And the way your defensive playing, that's what you want to do.
Exactly. So Sabourin will kick this one away from about the midfield stripe. And look at the respect they're giving him all the way back to the 5-yard line. Oh, good kick away. Turns it over to the 5. It's taken there by number 9, Jordy Kabamba. Kabamba takes off to the outside and is stopped after a run back of about 10 yards. And the Colts will be pressed deep in their own zone at about the 11.
Or actually the 15.
Make that the 15, yeah.
But even there, the punt returner on that play did an excellent job. He got vertical just right up the field. I use the term vertical a lot. That means straight north and south, straight up the field. And players that do that have a great chance of breaking something. The Huskies had good coverage, and we end up with the ball on the 20 or the 15.
From the 15, first down. Duncan Little in there at quarterback for the Colts. He fires it, almost picked off, and boy, I'll tell you what, Justin Hodinsky from Cold Lake. Well, again, saucers for eyes. He just saw that ball. It was all his, and it just slid through his fingers.
Well, Justin is a very aggressive young man. He's a very cerebral football player. And, of course, coming from the same school as Gaetano Minto, he's followed him down. And Hodinsky is, I know for the defensive coaches, that they just love having him back there. He's almost like a field general back there. He's only in his second year, and he's just going to be an outstanding player.
I mentioned he's from Cold Lake, and while we've got a minute, we're going to go down to Kevin shortly, but you know, we talked earlier in the football game about the scouting and the recruiting that this Huskies team does, and we're talking all over the province, not just the Edmonton area. I mean, we're looking at Cold Lake here, and Calgary even, and Red Deer, and everything.
Well, let's look at that. They're one corner, one day, Notre Dame, Red Deer. Quade Smith, number 40, Olds. Hodinsky, Cold Lake. I screwed up. He wasn't from Athabasca. And you got one guy from Edmonton, Brandon Mellon, who's been playing very well for him from Jasper Place, and Gaetano Minto from Athabasca. So 4 of the starting 5 are from outside the city.
They've really done a tremendous job of recruiting. And I talked to Coach Ian McLean about that last night, as a matter of fact. And before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about, again, the sponsors of PFC football and the Edmonton Huskies, Hertz Equipment Rental, and the Edmonton Eskimos, FC Edmonton, of course, have a great relationship with this football team. The Eskimo Excavators Limited, and of course the Glen Sather Sports Medicine Clinic. And we really wouldn't be able to bring you this kind of football coverage without the help of these sponsors.
You know, and talking about the Huskies recruiting, they've been doing that for a while, for a long time. It even goes back to Mike McLean days, where it scoured the province for good ball players. And it's been just tremendous. Here we go, start of the 4th.
All right. Duncan Little in at quarterback for Bailey Wasdell. looking to turn the offensive fortunes of this team around, and almost picked off again. And again in there was number 24, Gaetano Minto. They seem to be able to read Little very well. They've come so close now a couple of times.
Well, what they're doing is in these cases they're running a lot of comeback routes, so they're breaking off on them real quick. They're in the rhythm, and when you get in that, you make plays.
All right, let's go downstairs, and again, here is Kevin.
Holding.
Thanks a lot, Dave. From the Colts sideline, Coach Belmont talked about Austin Daisy. I would say very doubtful to return. He's dealing with a couple of issues over there. Medical staff couldn't exactly disclose what was going on, but he's got the towel wrapped around him, and he's also dealing with a contact lens issue. So Austin Daisy's got a lot of stuff going on, and he's doubtful to return. Dave?
Just watch where you step. There might be a contact lens on the ground. All right, back to football with 14:40 to go here in the fourth and final quarter. 24-7 in favor of the Edmonton Huskies over the Calgary Colts. You got to think back to last year, and once again the Huskies have really concentrated on this football game. They've wanted this victory so bad after losing in the last dying seconds last year in that semifinal, and they got to be pretty happy the way things have gone for them. Tommy Yanchuk at quarterback, mix up in the backfield, takes off with it himself, gets around the outside and runs out of bounds, and should be close to the first down. I think he needed to get to about the 19 or so, and they mark it out at the make that the 24. He had to get to about the 25.
About 8 yards. Yeah, that was a good run by Tommy. On the previous punt, I noticed something. You notice that was a shank punt again?
Yeah.
The Colt punter just stood there and watched it. He didn't come after, and then he walked off the field. Coach Blocker is going to go ballistic when he sees that on film, if he hasn't seen it already.
To this side, Connor Nichol. Nichol picks up about 5, and it'll be enough for the first down. They mark it out at the 19-yard line. I knew they'd get to the 19 eventually.
Well, you know who got him to the 19-yard line? Jimmy Airy. He blocked outside and just forced that to happen. Just excellent blocking by he and by Jacob Battenfelder. Now they got Battenfelder. They're running 2 backs now.
Play action. Good job by Airy once again, and the pass overthrown, intended for number 86 in the end zone. That was Zach Zayatnik, and again, Jimmy Airy, with the blitz coming from the far side, was able to take the linebacker out.
He picked it up, and it's lucky Jimmy has a good neck, because the way he blocked him, that fella come right into his neck. He's got to drive his legs more on that. He tried to take it the force. He's a strong young man, Jimmy is, and he tried to take that force on. That's hard on the body.
All right, Airy still in its setback. Play action, and again being hurried. The pass, it is incomplete. And I think we're going to have a roughing the passer call, and it will go against Kennedy Ilodigwe.
Now he has been, this is about the 3rd or 4th time that he's hit Yanchuk, and they've let a couple of them go, but not this one. Watch it on the screen here. Actually, I'm not sure that was maybe that's a make-up play, because if you watch it, he's diving for him before that ball is go. I think that's a bad call, personally.
Ilodigwe appears to be injured on the play as well. He is favoring his right, could be his right knee.
That could be a penalty injury. You got
feel sorry for me.
He doesn't want to hear from Coach Blocker. If he thinks Coach Blocker thinks,
offense, number 52. Penalties decline. 3rd down.
So it wasn't a penalty on him. It was holding on the Huskies. So now they go for the field goal. That makes sense to me, because there's no way I could see roughing the passer on that play. So I can't blame Brendan Murphy.
Okay, Cole Sabourin, who has been a busy man this evening, looking to increase the lead. This field goal will come from about the 26-yard line, and no problem at all for Sabourin. And with 13:10 to go, it's a 27-7 football game as the Edmonton Huskies are just piling up the points here on the Calgary Colts, and who'd have thunk, really?
Really, and again, a lot of the credit must go to the Husky defense. They're putting the offense in good position. The one thing that I really like what Coach Walters is doing with Tommy Yanchuk, again, he's mixing it up and allowing things to occur, but not having Tommy be put in a difficult position. Now, Tommy's taking a lot of hits out there, and so they might run the ball a little more as the game goes on.
There's that play that we were looking at earlier, and this time it works. The handoff, the quick handoff as Minchell came across, and he'll pick up close to 10 yards on the play.
I don't know if we're going to see this on the replay, but the slot back was offside. You could see him come down there, and he was in the backfield before that ball was snapped. This is a situation the Colts got away with one. What happens is then he picks off the linebacker. He can't get outside. You might see some heat now.
All right, it's a gain of 9. Second and a short 1 for Duncan Little.
This could be a play-action pass time.
There it is. No, it's the handoff, straight right side. And Minchell. That's the Dylan Minchell that we're used to seeing. He just put his head down and went straight forward for a pickup of about 5 yards, and more than enough for the first down.
He's a tough runner. He gets in and he gets those legs driving, and it's hard to stop him because he gets very low. I saw the play there where they ran that. He's over the line on the snap of the ball.
I think Brendan Murphy might be talking to you after the football game, or after he sees the film. There's the pass. It is complete at the 43-yard line. And picking it off was number 85, Nathan Hillier, out of Cochrane, played last year for the West Shore Rebels of Vancouver.
Now this is where the Huskies don't want to get into this position. They would like to get the ball turned over for the offense, and they're going to have to do something because now this quarterback's getting a little rhythm going.
It's a game of momentum, and here's the pass. It is complete at the 35-yard line for Evan Mann. And this time it's a gain of close to 8 yards. It'll be second and a long 2. We'll make it 3. Minchell, the setback, back in the pocket now, looking straight over to the other side. The pass complete once again to number 85, Nathan Hillier. We have a flag in the backfield. It's going to be roughing the passer.
No, it's holding. And if they didn't call that roughing the passer after the previous ones, I don't see that happening. They're actually letting the defensive players play, which is good. And there you had a holding call. It's good. I don't know if they'll take him back. I think they will.
On the offense, number 56.
I think they'll take him back.
10-yard penalty.
Absolutely. Now it's second and about 12.
The reason I thought that it was going to be roughing the passer was Bergmeyer was gesturing to the bench like, I didn't mean to do that. I think he thought that was the call too. Yeah.
And that was actually they really put pressure on, and I think that's what you have to do in this young man. Now there's a good football
Minchell, and Minchell coming out of the backfield with that sideline route is stopped quickly after he makes the catch, and in there was number 33, Vincent Schiffner from Millwoods Christian.
Actually, that was 40 again. That was with young defensive halfback who's filled in for Minto and is doing an excellent job today. Playing the zone well.
4 flankers to this side. Staying in there, the block was number 1, Bennett Thompson. There's the pass. It is complete at the 25-yard line. And again, it was Hillier. And he moves the flagstick down to about the 24-yard line.
And again, this quarterback looks a little bit to me like a Yanchuk. He's inexperienced, but you give him time, he can put that ball in the money. I think you got to bring heat on him.
There's the pitch out to Minchell. Minchell cuts to the middle, and he is stopped after a gain of about maybe 3.
I don't know if it's that much.
In there at the bottom of the pile was number 91, Skylar Schellenberg out of Lacombe. A couple of players from the Lacombe Rams on this Huskies football team. As again, that recruiting that we talked about.
It's a very, very good program. That Central Alberta football is extremely well played. A number of people from Sylvan Lake, some from Lacombe.
Little
for 6. He's got
Little
it wide
pumps
open.
one. Wide open. Touchdown. Jesse Kuntz in behind the defender and had no trouble pulling that one down. He was being watched by number 24, Gaetano Minto, who, as mentioned, playing a little bit out of position.
He's out of position. He's a halfback, and the one thing that happened here is as he got with him, he turned and looked at the quarterback. A big mistake. Separation got made, and as soon as that separation is made, you don't get it back. It's a perfectly passed ball. Now the Huskies got to start moving the ball. There's a long time left in this football game. And they've got to drive the ball.
The kick after by Jaden Sheelan. And with 8:46 to go, it's a 27-14 football game. It's not over yet, folks, with still a lot of time to go.
There's a lot of time. There's a very well thrown ball. Good route by the receiver, and the defensive back made a mistake. And mistakes like that cost you 6.
Talk a little bit about Duncan Little. You mentioned that he's a lot like Tommy Yanchuk, and he's got an arm just like Tommy Yanchuk as well.
Arm. A lot of these young quarterbacks now do, because a lot of the high school teams are passing the ball a lot.
Duncan Little, 6'4", 210 pounds, out of Calgary. He's got the size and clearly has the strength as well.
Now, there's 2 things I think are important right here. If the Huskies can get a good return out over the 35 and then control the ball for 2 or 3 first downs so they can pin the Colts deep again.
The kickoff to Berzak at about the 18-yard line. He's finding a hole. He's got some room to the outside. He's got some blocking and taken down from behind on a last-ditch effort by number 35, I believe it was, Ryan McNeely.
Well, again, there's an excellent return. We give a lot of credit to Berzak, but a tremendous credit to the blockers of the Huskies on the return unit. Reed Knox works very hard with these young men on this. He's the special teams coordinator and does a very good job.
Well, nobody was going to catch him in front of him. He had 3 blockers leading the way down the field, and somebody came up from behind and nailed him on the ankles.
And just good effort again by the Colts, just hustling back, or that would have been a touchdown.
Yanchuk still in at quarterback. There's the handoff to Jimmy Airy. Airy finds some room on the left side. Yanchuk is taken down, and again, taking him down was number 99, Kennedy Iladigwe. And I think we're going to have a roughing the passer call against Iladigwe once again.
Except there was no, it could be a UR, which would not surprise me. But if it is, or it's holding, if it's a UR, and that's what it is. It's not roughing the passer because he didn't pass the ball, but you saw the late hit, and he's been hitting Yanchuk all game. And you know, that's a huge penalty and puts the Huskies in very good position. Very good run by Jimmy Airy, by the way. Just an outside zone.
Iladigwe getting an earful as he gets to the sidelines.
Procedure on the Huskies.
3 flags, count them, 3 flags. Procedure will be the call, according to...
You know, that's the first time I've ever seen that. That looked like synchronized flag throwing. All 3 of those came out at exactly the same instant.
Hey, we may have a new Olympic sport.
Well, it could be. Murphy might get into the Olympics yet, huh?
Synchronized flag throwing, like it. Good one, Jim. John. First and 15 for the Huskies.
Trying a freeze move there.
First time we've seen that in this football game. There's the handoff again, and it is Jimmy Airy ahead to about the 25-yard line. That's a move that you see a lot of in the Canadian Football League, that freeze move where the slot backs move up to the line of scrimmage and then come back quickly.
They do, and you know, when all the teams first started doing it, it seemed effective. I'm not sure it's real effective now. And if you notice, the Huskies haven't done it much. No. And I don't see them doing that much until you get into situations. They thought they could freeze them there. It didn't work. Again, all kudos to the Colt defensive coaches.
Gain of 3, 2nd and 7. And they blow the whistle down and
delay of game.
Again.
Yeah. I think this is what it's going to be.
Time clock expiring. Timeout, Edmonton.
Now that's smart play by the Husky coaches. They were going to get a expired clock there. Got the timeout called in time. And with the young quarterbacks, this will happen. I doubt whether Tommy's really looking at that 20-second clock a lot. And, you know, in high school, most teams don't have them. So he's not used to it. And as I know they practice with him and they get going on it, so he'll get better and better with that as time goes on.
That last hit that he took from Miladigwe, he got up slowly, and I noticed he was just limping slightly on his left leg. But
well,
I think this is just an effort for him to settle down.
Well, it did that, and I think what Coach Walters is doing, he's just going to let the guys know, let's control the ball. We need to get a score here, touchdown preferably. But you need a score because right now you're talking less than two scores, all right? Or 2 scores can take the lead. So you want to get a minimum of a field goal, but you want to work the clock. If they can take it down and score a touchdown, they're back in great shape.
You notice that Coach Walters called the entire offensive unit to the sidelines after talking with Yanchuk.
I don't know. Rick Walters, you get to know him, and you know him, Dave. He's so quiet and very soft-spoken.
There's the pass. It's into the end zone, and it's going to be picked off at the 1-yard line. And the Calgary Colts with the big momentum change on that.
I think we have pass interference down here. Now,
well,
I don't know. It might be on offense. It might be on offense.
Noah Williams down at the 2-yard line. Flag on the play.
Noah Williams is going to get called for pass interference.
And this is huge.
Right on the 1-yard line.
Well, it'll be down about the 5-yard line.
So it's 15 yards, and that'll take it down. Yeah, you're about right, about the 5-yard line. They'll mark it at the 11 instead.
That's because it's a 10-yard penalty. That's because the referees know more than I do about that part of the game.
Ball spotted at the 11-yard line.
7:07 to go here at Clarke Park.
I think Murphy's just getting back at me for the synchronized flag remark. If this was the CFL, that play might have been challenged. I kind of almost have a feeling because the defender had inside position and was working the receiver outside. To me, that's legal. And when the ball was coming in, that offensive player did everything he could to get that ball, and I thought he might have interfered with him.
And off to Airy at the 5. Touchdown, Jimmy Airy. And is that not one happy young man out there?
I hope there are young players watching this because when you look at it on the replay, now he goes inside zone. You see how he cuts back and gets right up the field and powers through. Now what he did, he got the linebackers flowing one way by his motion and then cut right back up behind them. And that's what got the touchdown. Just a great run by Jimmy Airy. He set the blocks for the linemen very well.
Point after, Cole Sabourin. It's almost blocked, and rushing in there was McNeely once again, I'll tell you. That was close, but it's good, and it's a 34-14 football game, and that 20-point lead has been restored with 6:57 to go.
Now, Reed Knox is going to have a few things to say about allowing that man to come free. And I don't know on the call whether it was how they, but isn't that a great run and really well blocked. One thing about the offensive line on that, they got to the second level. Watch him get up the linebacker there. Okay, that's just a very good job.
Defensive lineman well blocked there, number 55, Chris Schwartz.
Well, and when
he was able to get around him.
And you had a rookie middle linebacker, a young middle linebacker who flowed, didn't read the play right. And if they had had their veteran linebacker in there, that might have been a little different play. But that shows you the importance of these veterans who understand the game and will read that a split second quicker. And a lot of these plays are split second plays.
Here's Sabourin with the kickoff. And another good one. It'll come down to about the 5-yard line. Up to the 10, the 15, still going with it. Number 19, Jesse Kuntz, and Kuntz is ridden to the ground at about the 30-yard line after a good run back of close to 25 yards or so.
Well, again, what are you looking at? You're looking at keeping these guys inside the 35-yard line. Now they've got the long field to go. What Cole Sabourin is doing, and he does very well, he gets the ball high and allows his coverage units to get down in their lanes. And what I've noticed, the Huskies have done a nice job staying in their lanes in this game.
Other PFC action this weekend. Tomorrow, the Saskatoon Hilltops are in Winnipeg to take on the newly rejuvenated and very powerful Winnipeg Rifles. And the Edmonton Wildcats are over in Regina to take on the Thunder. That'll be a big game for the Wildcats. They came awfully close a couple of times against the Thunder last year, and this may be the season that the Wildcats start to make a bit of a comeback.
Now here's a case for young 40, our young defensive back, Quade Smith. He got turned around a little on that play and allowed the reception to be made, and he just turned the wrong way on it. A very good ball by the quarterback, good reception by the receiver.
Duncan Little still in at quarterback in place of Bailey Wasdell. There's the pass. It is almost picked off once again. And that was Darian Nitty with just so close to making a pick six on that one.
I think he might have been looking upfield a little bit on that instead of watching the ball into his fingers. I think Darian, if he gets a touchdown, somebody will have to buy him a meal or something. So he got a little excited, but good coverage. We got somebody down with the Huskies.
Might be Jaden Lorimer, number 19. See if we can get a look at him.
Coach Tobert is telling Nitty right now, he said, you owe me a meal for not getting that pick and getting it in the end zone.
Guys, Kevin from the sideline, that is number 15.
Brandon Mellon.
Brandon Mellon, and he's been dealing with either a groin issue or a quad issue. He's been on the trainer's table. He's been dealing with it all day. He's been struggling with it, but it's good to see him back on his feet. But he's certainly been nursing an injury or trying to John Wayne it through, as it were, all game tonight, guys.
The thing with Brandon Mellon, Kevin, is he is a very tough young man, and the best thing they could do with him is call a veterinarian for him. He is about as tough a human being as you'll have. He's bad like that. Get a vet out for him. I used to kid him that, he's a type of young man. He'll have something pulled, and he doesn't want to come off that field.
2nd and 10 for the Colts. Looking downfield, the pass it is complete out on the flats here to number 1, Bennett Thompson, and Thompson is ridden down at about the 45-yard line. It's a gain of close to 12 yards on the play, and it's enough for the first down with the clock running down. It becomes the enemy of the Calgary Colts with 5:20 to go.
Still a long time. Justin Hodinsky made a great tackle on that play, good and low, and he saved it because that was a very good pass.
Here's some pressure on Little. He gets it away, and it is over the outstretched arms of the intended receiver down there, number 1, once again, Bennett Thompson.
And again, Quade Smith was an excellent coverage, and he got turned the right way this time and was able to tip that ball away. Excellent coverage.
Well, they did what they needed to do, and that was isolate the receiver on a linebacker, and
well, that's right.
Unfortunately, it was just a little bit high for.
Well, Quade's a halfback. He's playing half. Here, we just missed the play. They showed the play that they got the reception on the first down and the tackle by Hodinsky. Now, when Hodinsky tackles you, you're not getting away. It's like a calf roper. Catches those legs, wraps them up, and you can't move.
Is that Duncan Little down on the field? It
See,
must be because I
be.
see number 11. Bailey Wasdell is warming up.
I see Quade Smith there, an excellent tip, good position. Now the thing here is all game, and we've talked about it early, the quarterbacks have been getting hit a little late, not by a lot. And I prefer this be honest with you. But you notice that Tommy Yanchuk's a little sore now, and all of a sudden Little's down, and he's hurt. And that was a touch late. And the officials are letting it go. They're letting it go on both sides. But this could be a little hard on young quarterbacks.
Looked like he was favoring his wrist.
Now, it could be the way he come down after passing the ball, and if he gets a hand underneath him and gets tackled and just gets it jammed, he looks like it'd be all right. I think he has to be out for 3 plays.
So into the ball game once again is Bailey Wasdell. Wasdell started the game, and Little came in halfway through the third quarter and has actually got this Calgary Colts offense moving a little bit. Scored a touchdown a short while ago. And Wasdell now will roll out to the side. There's the pass. It is complete to number 82, Brandon McIsaac. And I'll tell you what, Wasdell looked sharp on that play and threw that ball with authority right into the hands of McIsaac.
And you add to that, the coverage was such on the wide side of the field.
Yeah.
They didn't get out there on that coverage. And then now I believe this is third down, is it not?
Ball at the 35-yard line.
It is third.
It's third down and 1, so they've got to get the first down. And this is the important thing for them. Now the Huskies, if they get off the ball, we'll see what happens. Would you go play action here?
Over center. There's the handoff. Minchell needed to get across the 35-yard line.
There's going to be ball placement on this one.
See where they mark it down.
It's first down. Where they've given it. It's first down.
Is it?
I believe it is.
John?
Well, maybe it isn't, because I'm looking at this post down here, and it's the far post you got to look at.
Yeah.
This is going to be close. They don't think it. Even the Colts don't think it is. The Colts don't believe it is. I didn't think it was off the ball. Now they've got it across the line. I didn't think he'd gotten across the line. But we're going to see here on the thing, the Colts do not believe they have the first down.
They're bringing the chains out. Focus in on it.
First down, Huskies.
I got one on you.
You did. Hey, your eyes are better than mine.
And on third down, they don't have enough. The Huskies will take over. First and 10.
So another costly turnover for the Calgary Colts. The Huskies controlling the football with 4.5 to go in this fourth quarter.
But again, an excellent line surge by the defensive line of the Edmonton Huskies, and those linebackers walked them all up. Probably brought 7 hard. Tremendous job.
A flag thrown in the backfield. And it looks like we have a penalty against the Huskies.
What this is going to be is 13 men in the huddle. And
offense.
That's the call.
10-yard penalty.
You know, personally, I think it's a bad rule. I know the leagues like him as far as the officials go. On account, they just flag him there. To me, if the guy gets off in time, it should be okay.
Before the ball is snapped.
Yeah. But I'm okay with that rule. It does make teams more disciplined. There's no question about it.
Handoff, right side again. Jimmy Airy. Make that Brent Berzak. Berzak at the center field stripe, still going, and finally tackled from behind on a nice play by number 25. I'll make that 28. Maxwell Uko.
Watch the blocking on this. Here he comes, cuts it back. The linebackers overflowed it again. Inexperienced linebackers. And then he just runs.
Picks up 33 yards and a first down for the Huskies.
Now, Edmund might have been able to stay on that block if he had Berzak would have scored.
So the big run for Brent Berzak, and it's first down for the Huskies in Calgary territory. Yanchuk takes the ball himself, goes to the outside, still going, and taken down at just over the 40-yard line. I'm not sure if that was a design play or not, but whatever, Yanchuk carried the ball well and picked up a gain of over 15 yards.
You know, he's limping pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's supposed to be a zone read. It almost looks like it is. And he just broke it upfield. A very good run. He's a very good young football player. And he's going to stay in there. I would suspect now what Coach Walters is going to do is just have him hand off most of the rest of the game, or very quick passes.
Berzak left side, finds the hole again. Goes to the outside, plows his way up to the about the 30-yard line, and again another first down. That was all Berzak down on that one.
You're a fisherman, right?
Oh yeah.
You ever seen them little water beetles? That's Berzak right there. He makes you miss.
Yeah.
His feet are going so fast. And it's just a pleasure to watch him. What a combination, Harry and him. I mean, it's nice to have that.
With the big, powerful running back in Jimmy Airy and the little guy that can dipsy doodle, as they used to say, and not lose any speed at the same time.
No, that's exactly right.
He just keeps moving all the time. No question.
Certainly does.
2:37 to go. Handoff, Berzak left side again. Same play. Not quite the same result. He'll pick up about 2 maybe.
Now this will be interesting. Do you run the ball or do you put it in the air? In comes number 32.
Ben Wilton.
Okay.
Ben Wilton is coming in.
Young running back.
Actually, he's a quarterback. Out of Spruce Grove. So Ben Wilton is making his debut in the Prairie Football Conference. There's the snap and the play action, and it's going to be all Wilton over the 18-yard line to the 15. And what a way to start your career, right?
You know what I love about this? Here you got a youngster coming in his first game, right? They're up, but what a big thing it is to have your coaches believe in you, to put you in this situation. To go run the ball.
Out of the shotgun, high snap, play action, and he is taken down from behind. I mean, again, Ilo Digwe with such an obvious call against him. I mean, that was just silliness.
It is, and again, Coach Blocker is going to go ballistic because this ball now is going to the 1-yard line. This is a UR.
And this is the second time that's happened to him in the same area.
That's right.
Yep.
Horse collar tackle. Defense, number 99. 15-yard penalty. First down.
He didn't even try to disguise that.
No, and, of course, Will's not that big a guy, so you catch him by the horse collar, it's like taking a mosquito and flipping it back. He's not a big kid. And you look at the size of the defensive line of the Colts. They got some good size there.
Okay, so now how much would you like to bet that Wilton is going to carry this one into the end zone?
I think he's going to hand it off to Berzak.
Okay.
Now, if he carries it in, more power to him. You're right.
And there he is on his debut in the Prairie Football Conference. Out of Spruce Grove, young Ben Wilton. He's got to be, what, 18 years old. And,
now, here's the interesting thing. 3 plays.
Yep.
He basically carried the ball in all 3.
Yep.
The second one, he got a UR called on him. Got the ball down to the 1. And then again, the belief of the coaches, the belief of the offensive line. Hey, we're going to get you in the end zone. And they did. Great job for the young man.
And he comes off the field with his first touchdown in the Prairie Football Conference on only his 3rd play. That's a pretty good record.
Yeah, he can retire now. He's done pretty good.
There's our end cut cameraman up there. Almost got that one in the face. That point after. He's going to want WCB or hazard
well,
pay.
I think the big thing there is it would be really nice to see that on the replay from the end zone cut.
Here it comes.
On the defense, number 5. That 15-yard penalty will be applied on the kickoff. Convert is good.
Another penalty against the defense. Guess we're not going to catch that, but oh, here it comes. Here it comes, folks. Boom!
Oh, what a great shot. Well, I would have thought a good cameraman would have caught that.
You got to be careful these days, guys. Don't forget what happened in Boston the other night. You got to be careful up on that left when there's a ball coming your way.
Now, here's an interesting thing. You got a ball in the +50 you're kicking off. Do you put it deep in the end zone, or do you just put it high right into the corner? Oh, there's a rabbit down there about the -50-yard line. He's just sitting there. He's kind of looking at the Colts.
Oh, well, that's Eddie.
That's Eddie?
That's Eddie. Eddie of the FC Edmonton soccer team, and he is allowed to be on this field, although he's probably confused by all the lines down there.
Well, Eddie better watch it, or he might be stew for tomorrow.
As the kickoff into the end zone and taken out to about the 10-yard line by Kuntz once again, Jesse Kuntz out of the Notre Dame Pride. And he runs it back about 16 yards or so, so it'll be first down at the 10 with 1:49 to go.
And considering he was offside, there was no flag on the play. Eddie was about 15 yards offside on that kickoff, but it's one of the few flags we haven't seen tonight.
Well, when you're a soccer rabbit, you don't know these football rules.
Two different kinds of football,
there
for sure.
Go. Wasdell back in at quarterback, gets away from one tackle, gets it away, and it is complete to Jesse Kuntz, rather, and Kuntz is stopped quickly. I
think
figured he got maybe 3 yards in the play.
If that. That's a very good tackle. Very good. Interesting thing about Eddie, what he's got to understand as a rabbit, he's running a field, and there are 12 dogs on the field. And they like to devour rabbits.
Are we going to continue along this line for the next minute and 31 seconds? Because if we are, I think I'm leaving.
Well, we got a delay, and I hope this isn't it. No, it's not delay. It must be procedure. I'm glad it's not a delay because it really put pressure on the courts.
On the offense, number 52, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
All right, penalty going against number 52 for the Huskies, Gunnar Thurlow from the Spruce Grove Panthers.
This is against the Colts.
Oh, I thought he said offense. He did say offense.
Did say offense. You're still thinking about Eddie.
I'm still thinking about Eddie. Sure, why not? William McDougall was the guy.
William McDougall. This is tough. You know, when you're losing a game like this, and you got a lot of young guys, which Calgary does have, then it's frustrating and things kind of snowball.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened. Those penalties, snowball effect. For their next game, they got to settle down and just make things happen and get back into it. For the Huskies, this is a good start, and it's going to really help them for their next game.
Pass complete to Jesse Kuntz. He's got enough for the first down. They'll mark it down at the 22.
If you notice, the Huskies have quite a few young players in now.
Wasdell started the game, then made way for Duncan Little. Little injured his wrist, and now Wasdell is back in, and the pass is complete to Bennett Thompson. They really flooded that zone, and Thompson was the short man on that pass.
And the Huskies are going to give that up. They don't want to give up the deep ball even here, because one thing about this game, the way this conference is, for and against is important. So you don't want to give up anything easy here. You want to keep them down.
Gain of 4 at 2nd and 6. Wasdell again, pass complete on this side to Nichol. And Nichol needed to get to about the 32 or 33-yard line, and he makes it up to the 35, so it'll be first down for the Colts with 57 seconds to go in the football game.
And that was young Cole Lindbergh making the tackle, was playing the zone right and coming up on the play. Now again, you're talking a young player. He played it very well, makes the tackle. Keep everything in front.
Everybody downfield, quick pass on the flats to number 21, Dylan Minchell, and Minchell is taken down big time, and another hit from Tylen Smith.
He's just having a tremendous game at number 40. For a young player, he's really accomplishing some things, and I know the defensive coaches from the Huskies got to be very happy with this play.
Wasdell steps back, screen, complete, incomplete. In and out of the hands of the intended receiver, and that was number 20, Kaden Armstrong. I think he may have heard footsteps on that one.
Well, Jason Brown was coming downhill pretty hard on that.
And we've got a flag down in the backfield.
I think it's unsportsmanlike conduct. Somebody probably said something.
Objectionable conduct. On the offense, number 52. Dead ball foul, 10-yard penalty. Third down.
So that'll move it all the way down to the 30-yard line, and again the Colts will be forced to kick this one away. Dallas Burke standing at about his own 15-yard line.
And again, for young players that are watching this game, remember Coach Blocker said at halftime to Kevin, he said, if we continue to get these penalties, we're going to have a long second half. And that's exactly what's happened. And as the half has gone on, they've got more and more penalties. And what type are they getting? They're getting URs, they're getting unsportsmanlike conduct penalties.
Check this out. The punt going to number 3, Nathan Filito. And Filito made a couple of great moves just around the Husky 50-yard line and made it all the way up to the Colts 50-yard line. So Nathan Filito getting a little action out there.
And Filito's got great speed. He's one of these young men can really go. I'm not sure, he certainly doesn't see the field like Bergersen sees it, but even there he might have had a seam before that. But he shows that speed, and it's tough to stop speed. Now number 11 is in a quarterback.
And that would be Nahomi Jorgus. Jorgus saw some action last week in Windsor, and he'll just take the knee and run the clock down with 10.6 to go.
Now Nahomi is from St. Francis Xavier. He's a good high school quarterback in Edmonton, and really a good young man, fine young man. Came through that Western Raider program in the midget and bantam. And now here he is in his first junior football game.
And that is the football game. And the Edmonton Huskies will come up with another big win, a 41-14 victory over the Calgary Colts, and that leads them to a 2-0 record. In the first couple of weeks of this season, the Calgary Colts will drop to 1-1. But you know, when things started looking as if they were going to go bad for the Edmonton Huskies in that first quarter, they shook it off. They had a little chat at the quarter time, and the game was all theirs after that.
Absolutely, and one of the biggest parts of it is they suffered a couple of pretty devastating injuries for them. They lose their starting quarterback, and they bring in a young man who's a rookie right out of high school. They lost their left guard, a veteran left guard, and Jack Hanna, who's a very good ball player. And they just kept coming. And the biggest thing, and I'm sure Coach McLean is going to be happiest about it, they minimized the penalties in the second half. And what we talked about in the first half, once they got rhythm going and they started getting some success, those penalties disappeared. And one thing that the Huskies wanted to do, and they did a better job this game, they have started slow, especially Brad Lonhart has started slow early in games. This game he did pretty well, and before the injury he was already starting to move the ball, and then of course Tommy Yanchuk came in and did an excellent job for him.
In case you missed it, Brad Lonhart, starting quarterback for the Huskies, going out with a shoulder injury. He was well taped up, put the pads back on. We thought he might be able to make it back out, but when they came out after halftime, he had the shoulder pads off, and he was through for the rest of the game. Tommy Yanchuk came in his place and showed very well until he had to leave the game with what looked like a wrist injury. We'll have Kevin check up on that and see what kind of shape he's in. But it'll be interesting to see what will happen next weekend, because right now the Huskies are hurting at quarterback with Lonhart out and that wrist injury to Tommy Yanchuk. They may be down to their third and fourth string quarterbacks. Ben Wilton, who you saw and scored his first touchdown after 3 quick plays, and then Nahomi Jorgus, who saw some action last week against the Windsor AKO Fratman.
I think what might happen, I think you will see Lonhart ready to go next week, and I think you'll see Yanchuk ready to go next week. And a big part of that, I just suspect that what will happen is, like Tommy Yanchuk today, he ought to go home, I hope he's got a big bathtub at home, load it with ice, fill that up with water, and sit with it right up to the neck and just get some of that pain out.
Don't forget the Epsom salts.
I don't need Epsom salts. Just sit in nice water. He'll be all right.
All right, I think we're going to go downstairs and Kevin Donnan has a special guest, very happy special guest, Kevin.
I'm down here, you bet, Dave. I'm down here with Brett Vanderkorpen, and what a performance by the defense today. Offense had a little bit of trouble in the first half, but you guys kind of just kept things going, kept things steady. Tell us what you were able to do.
I mean, as a defense, like, we just got to keep our offense in the game, whether they might not start as strong as us, or I mean, we might be the ones that are kind of weak. So it's just keeping each other in the game. Whoever's kind of struggling a little bit, you just, you know, keep your spirits up and stuff, keep them in the game until they kind of get clicking, and then once they get clicking, it's fun.
What were you able to do to shut down the Colts offense?
I think it's just play physical. Like, they're a physical team. Like, you see those linemen, they're all huge boys. They like to run the ball. Like, we just had to play physical up front and then make them toss it, and that's what we did. So
what does it mean for the room to beat this team, especially after last season and everything, and, you know, coming down to the final play? What does it mean to this team to be 2-0 and to take down the Colts here on home field?
It's a big deal for us. I mean, like, of course, your first home game, you want to win, like, especially against a team that tough. And, you know, after last year, it's I mean, it's a good feeling. I mean, you want to win, but you kind of have to look forward to this year instead of looking back at what we did last year. So just moving forward.
Well, you're 2-0 and you're on top and on to next week.
Yeah, perfect.
All right. Thank you so much. That was Brett Vanderkorpen, the linebacker for the Huskies tonight. A great performance by the defense and some opportunities seized by the offense. So the Huskies are 2-0 and they're feeling great, guys.
Vanderkorpen with just a great evening of football, a pickoff and a couple of sacks. Boy, I'll tell you what, he had himself just a great evening, and so many of the Huskies players had great evenings. Tommy Yanchuk and Jimmy Airy with a big touchdown, an important touchdown. Burzak, everybody just having a great evening, and I'm sure there's a very happy coach down there as well. Let's go down and talk to him. Kevin?
Well, thanks a lot, Dave. I am here with head coach Ian McLean, and it wasn't perfect at times. It wasn't pretty at times, but you're 2-0, and you got a big win here on home field.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously you want to start the season with his wins, and the good Calgary team is critical. We had a lot of guys that were forced into playing, and it's good to see them go out and perform, and a lot of stuff to correct, a lot of things that we need to look at doing better and make sure we do a better job next week because we're going to see these guys again.
Now, how concerned are you about Brad Lonhart and Tommy Yanchuk? Yanchuk was hurt late. Do you have a little bit of about his status?
Tommy wanted to stay in. I think he'll be fine. I think he was just sore. I mean, when you're getting your first real live action with some of these guys, it hurts a little bit more, but he'll be fine. And then Brad will find out when I hear from the doctors.
Well, yeah, Coach Belmont said that Yanchuk should probably just fill a bathtub full of ice and just stay there for a little while.
He's shown in our 2 games that he can run the ball, so that's good to see, and it's good to see that he went in there, and the stage isn't too big for him. Obviously, we changed some stuff in our playbook, but it's good to see him go there and get some success. And with three new starters on the O-line, that was good.
And talk about the defense. I mean, what a pretty strong performance. You were able to keep the Colts offense off balance. Game ball to the defense tonight?
I think the defense played well, the offensive line played well, and I mean, when it comes down to it, it's a team win. Our entire mantra, everything we do is all about team, all about family, and we want to make sure that it's we all succeed together, we all fail together. So it's great to see a good team win.
And you got to be feeling great. 2-0, top of the division.
That's how you want to start.
You bet. Okay, all the best to you the rest of the way. We'll see you again soon. That was head coach Ian McLean. Let's throw things back up for some final thoughts with Dave and the coach, John Belmont.
Hey, that's about the closest I've seen Ian McLean to a smile.
I tried my best, guys. You know, I'm trying down here. But it's a long season, guys. We're going to get there.
All right, thanks a lot, Kevin. Appreciate that. The statistics clearly show that the score would indicate exactly what happened. 390 total yards for the Huskies, 292 for the Calgary Colts, and really when it comes right down to it, it had to be the Huskies defense, bottom line, and we've talked about it all evening.
We did, and it started early in the second quarter when they forced that fumble and got the turnover and drove down and got the field goal. That seemed to turn the game around. And then at that point, all of a sudden the penalties started to be eliminated. And it turned around the other way, and the Colts started getting penalties. So when you take the whole game in total, the Edmonton Huskies dominated for 3 quarters of the game.
And I think it speaks well for both these teams that when you get right down to it, it was the backup quarterbacks that came in and sparked their respective teams, particularly Tommy Yanchuk.
Absolutely, and one of the biggest factors with this, remember, both these teams are well coached. Mm-hmm. And you watch what they do with these young players. They both have confidence in their young players, and they give them playing time. And down the road, that's what's going to pay dividends. What happens now is important, but what happens in October is much more important. So that's what they have to prepare for. And both these coaching staffs are very good teachers of the game.
Well, you know that last year the Huskies, of course, started very slowly, and as the season progressed, they evened their record, and then they started winning and ended up with a 6-3 mark after a very poor showing the previous season in 2015. This year, they're at 2-0. I mean, this can only mean great things ahead for the Huskies.
Well, tremendous expectations by the coaching staff for the players, and in talking with not just coaches but players, tremendous expectation from the players. So when you have that, everybody feeds off everybody else. That's why a Tommy Yanchuk can come in. When you have a Brad Lonhart in front of you, you learn from the best, and that's happening in a lot of the positions with the Huskies.
Well, I think we're about ready to wrap things up here, and the players leaving the field, and the Huskies will be beginning their celebration for this great victory, an important win for this Huskies team as they continue on the season next weekend. Speaking of next weekend, we'll have the Wildcats for you here on ICU Video, and that should be a great football game. The Wildcats are in action this weekend as well, looking for their first victory, and you know, it can only mean great things for both for all of Edmonton junior football if these two teams can continue some winning ways.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go downstairs. Here is Kevin.
Thank you so much, Dave, and that concludes our procast coverage of Week 2 and our ICU season opener of the 2017 Prairie Football Conference season. On behalf of executive producer Rob Zidlaw, we'd like to thank our entire broadcast crew, the hardest working crew in cyberspace, technical advisor and camera Dave Foley, our director Connor O'Donovan, camera Terry Farina and Matt Mosowich, and our switcher Alex Testowich. Next week, as Dave mentioned, make sure you join us again for another ICU video procast. It will be the Edmonton Wildcats hosting the Winnipeg Rifles here at Clarke Field on August 26th with kickoff at 7 p.m. Thank you, football fans, for joining us here on this ICU video procast. We don't podcast, we procast. On behalf of my colleagues Dave Rozak and the coach John Belmont, I'm Kevin Donnan. The final score, the Edmonton Huskies 41, the Calgary Colts 14. Good night from Clarke Field in Edmonton.